Absolutely glorious today in Arizona. Lots of sunshine and afternoon baseball in the Valley of the Sun. MLB Live on Facebook Watch. We are in the National League West, where the Diamondbacks have had a great start. Game 4 of a 4-game series. Arizona got the first 2. Dodgers won it last night. Hi, everybody. I'm Rich Waltz. Welcome to Phoenix. There's been a seismic shift in the landscape of the National League West. The Dodgers have dominated this division, 5 consecutive division titles. But this year, Arizona is the best team in the National League, and they have an 8-game lead over the Dodgers going into this. So that's the backdrop, along with this great sunshine and an open roof here at Chase Field. If this is the first time you've watched on Facebook Watch, here are some things to remember. You can join the conversation in comments. If you want to join a Dodgers or a Diamondbacks fan group, you can do that as well. And if you don't want the comments, that's easy. You can do the quiet mode on your mobile or on your laptop, even if you're streaming onto your television set. We have a terrific set of broadcasters here to watch this ball game. We start with the pride of MLB Network. He was a Diamondback. Eric Burns, for 11 years in the big leagues, played on some really good Oakland Athletic teams. Yes, he's known for throwing his body around, and here in the Valley of the Sun, they still remember him. That imprint is still on the wall here at Chase Field. Eric Burns is with us. Oral Hershiser, what did he not do as a Dodger? The Bulldog is with us. A Cy Young, an All-Star, a Gold Glove, and he'll like this, a Silver Slugger as well. And they join us now. Let's, guys, let's start with you, or let's start with the Dodgers. Where do you go? Do you go with the bullpen, which is not as good as it was last year? Do you go with the lineup that's not scoring a lot of runs? Or do you start with injuries?
Yeah, I think you have to start with the injuries. People talk about a World Series hangover. They lost to the Astros. But right from spring training, this team didn't leave with a full roster. Justin Turner gets plucked on the hand. He has been out for a while, has not really even had that many at-bats at all. That's a huge injury, a huge leadership issue for the Dodgers. Then you talk about Logan Forsythe. So by the time we get through this open, you're going to know 3/4 of the Dodger infield has been hurt. And the main injury's at the end, but Logan Forsythe out, Turner out. Then you go starting pitching. It's always been a strength of the Dodgers. But Rich Hill's blister returned, then a little inflammation, and then an infection on that finger. They're hoping he returns when they get to Mexico to play the Padres in a few days. Yasiel Puig in the big Giants series hits the corner of the wall, making a catch. The next at bat fouls the ball off his foot, has to go on the DL also. And then Corey Seager has dealt with elbow issues for about 2 years. Finally, the elbow got to a point where he needs Tommy John surgery. And if that's not all, last night, an inning and a third on Ryu, who's been acting like Corbin of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Cy Young type numbers, Ryu goes down. So where do they stand? They stand with a very deep roster with other guys that you really don't know have played in the big leagues. They're going to start here today.
Impressively, Dave Roberts has not used this as an excuse. And Burnsy, I think impressive is the best word for the Arizona Diamondbacks. This has been a team that was hot at the end of last year, and they've picked right up this season.
Yeah, I mean, impressive, I think, is an understatement at this point. Right now, I'd say that this team is the best team in the National League. Now, understand this, the Los Angeles Dodgers have won the past 5 National League Western Division championships, but this year I see it coming to an end. It just sort of seems like this perfect storm, because here are the Diamondbacks playing their best baseball at the same time when the Dodgers are dealing with all these injuries. But A.J. Pollock has been one of the best players, if not the best player in all baseball. Patrick Corbin has been one of the best starters. David Peralta has been fantastic. Brad Boxberger at the back end, along with Archie Bradley. Everything that this Arizona Diamondbacks team has done so far has been outstanding.
And guys, this has turned into a really nice rivalry, heated at times, but dominated lately by the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, especially when the games are here in Arizona. You hear the Beat LA chants that have really come out of San Francisco, but they're now starting to move over here.
Yeah, well, look, our 4th member of our broadcast team, outstanding, working for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and of course, formerly of MLB Network. You mentioned A.J. Pollock. Are Alana Rizzo caught up with the Diamondbacks outfielder?
All right, Rich, thanks very much. A.J. Pollock has been sidelined with hand, elbow, and groin injuries the past few seasons. However, the healthy Arizona Diamondbacks outfielder is whole and making a huge impact at the plate, helping a team that seems on early in the season to be unstoppable.
I think just the contributions we've got from just different guys throughout the whole roster. You know, we've had a new hero every night. Pitching's always kept us in the game, so when you're hanging around in the game long enough, you know, you're always going to have a chance to win the game. And I think so far we've been able to squeak out some close victories, and you know, hopefully we can keep it rolling.
Really, the length of your lineup is impressive, but for you personally, when talking with Torey Lovullo, he talked about the fact that you have that consistent load, and you're waiting specifically for your pitch to hit, regardless of what it is. Where is that stemming from?
I think it's just the work that I've put in with you know, some of our hitting coaches here. You know, I'm really thankful for the input that they've put in. You know, Tim Laker, Dave Magadan, and Robert Van Scoik. Just a great little combination of you know, some really good hitting minds that we have here.
Recently named the National League Player of the Month. You also lead the league as far as the long ball is concerned with 10 already. How much are you buying into that launch angle and kind of mimicking what you and J.D. Martinez were trying to do last year?
Yeah, I think, you know, the launch angle thing is interesting talk. I think it's, you know, you have to have the right swing for it. You can't just hit the ball in the air and hit pop-ups. But, you know, if your swing's ready for it, obviously, you know, the quickest way to runs is to drive the ball in the gaps and over the fence. So, you know, if you're feeling good, then, you know, that's pretty much what I'm trying to do, get a pitch I can handle and drive the ball to the gaps and over the fence.
Guys, A.J. Pollock just seems to be on top of everything, regardless of what pitch selection the opposition goes with. In addition to what Torey Lovullo said about that consistent load in the box, Torey was saying he really has increased his ability to have an impact on the perfect pitch that he's waiting to swing at.
Thank you, Alana. Has had an impact certainly against the Dodgers. 6 of his 10 home runs have come at the expense of Dave Roberts and the Dodgers. And you go back to last year, the Dodgers, a magical season until they got to Game 7 against Houston in the World Series. They lost that ball game, and from that point on, it's been a struggle.
The Dodgers have distinguished themselves as the #1 team in baseball.
Moment after moment, memory after memory, the Dodgers have done it again. And for the 5th consecutive year, the Dodgers are the champions of the National League West. And the Dodgers sweep the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Los Angeles Dodgers have won the pennant.
This was the greatest baseball game that I've ever seen.
Oh, my! The Houston Astros are world champions. And the Dodgers are downcast.
The Dodgers, they are struggling. You figure maybe a little hangover. You figure no Justin Turner out of the gates.
I drive to deep left field. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's got that blank stare sitting in the dugout.
They would like to have everybody have a little bit more sense of urgency.
Their offense is going to struggle to score runs.
It's a little scary. That's all it is. Gives you a little bit uneasy feel.
At some point in time, you're going to have to turn things around and find the answer.
And yes, it is early May, but for the Los Angeles Dodgers, this is an important game. It's a swing game. They're 8 behind the Diamondbacks. Win it, they draw within 7. Lose it, they fall to 9 back. Here's the Dodgers lineup. Dodgers come in at 13-17. Chris Taylor is leading it off. Versatile guy and important now with Seager out for the rest of the year. Kike Hernandez at second base. Matt Kemp revitalized in right. Cody Bellinger is homered in this series. He's at first. Austin Barnes behind the plate. Kyle Farmer gets a start at third base. Alex Verdugo from Tucson, Arizona is in left field and just called up making his first major league start. Tim LoCastro, a lot of speed in center field for the Dodgers. Chris Taylor getting set to go. Arizona defensively, and they'll be behind this guy, Patrick Corbin. Patrick Corbin is setting the world on fire right now.
He has really turned back the clock a little bit, but also pushing it forward. 2013, his best year when he had 14 victories. He's changed his pitch selection here in 2018, really started mid-August of last year. People are charting his slow slider as a curveball, but whatever way they chart it, it has been effective. So the slider/breaking ball is an out pitch for him. And most pitchers try and establish their fastball. In Patrick Corbin's case, I think he tries to establish his breaking stuff to make the fastball a lot livelier.
Corbin at 4-0, the 2.25 ERA, start number 7. And in honor of Eric Burns, it's the throwback jerseys here. We've got the nice purple going here instead of the Sedona red. Defensively, This is a good defensive team, much improved in the outfield where you spent a lot of time here in Arizona.
Yeah, this is a very good defensive team. In left field today, you're going to have Chris Owens. You got Nick Ahmed over at shortstop. But you back that up, A.J. Pollock in center field. Souza Jr., by the way, guys. This is his first start of the year. The MVP of the Tampa Bay Rays last season's in right field. Third base, Devin Marrero. Like I said, I mentioned Nick Ahmed was at shortstop. Second base is Ketel Marte. First base is Paul Goldschmidt. Jeff Mathis behind the plate. And as Oral referred to, Patrick Corbin on the mound.
Corbin works quickly. So does Alex Wood, who gets the start for the Dodgers. And with the roof open here in Phoenix, temperatures supposed to climb into the lower 80s. It's a glorious day to finish off this 4-game set.
The roof has been open for all 4 games. They've dealt with a little wind. A slight dust storm came in here in game 2, but the last 2 games, this one and the last one, have been calm.
Chris Taylor takes a strike. Taylor, who had a breakout year last year, 21 homers, was so important for Dave Roberts wherever he put him. And he'll see a lot of time at shortstop in the absence of Corey Seager. Of course, can play center field as well.
A lot of people thought, why does Dave Roberts put him at shortstop when Seager goes down compared to Kike Hernandez, who has really flashed the leather?
On the ground, that's Ahmed, one of the best shortstops in baseball. All right, I know we touched on him. Let's take the grand tour of the defense now for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, we might as well do this again. Chris Owens in left, Pollock in center, Souza Jr. right. Be real interesting to see how he kind of adds into what the D-backs have been featuring so far, which, like I mentioned earlier, I think this is the best team in the National League. Devin Marrero at third, Nick Ahmed, Ketel Marte, Goldschmidt, Mathis, and Corbin on the mound. Or we had a chance to talk to Dan Herron, who was working as a special assistant for the Diamondbacks. And one of the things he said about Corbin and his success is once he got that 50-50 split ratio between his fastball and his breaking ball, he's taken off to the next level.
Yeah, the analytics show that his breaking ball is very hard to hit. And in some ways, you know, he's turned it into 2 pitches because he's changing speeds on it now. And sometimes even changing the angle. So hitters are having to hit his best pitch a lot more often now, which has really taken his numbers down as far as ERA and hits per inning.
Kike Hernandez, also a versatile guy. And there's Corbin. Now, you talk about changing speeds in this day and age of spin rate, which everybody seems to use. It's reducing that spin rate for Corbin. It's a slower slider that has been a key for him.
Well, here's the thing. That comes out looking like a fastball. That thing's not getting up out of his hand. What I mean by that, if you're a hitter, you can't see that ball pop out of his hand. So if you can't see the pop, it appears to be a fastball, then all of a sudden this thing's diving in at your back knee as a right-handed hitter.
Matt Kemp now, and look, I don't know that anybody expected Matt Kemp would be hitting third at this point of the season, and a trade mostly about salary swaps and salary dumps. Kemp ended back up with the Dodgers, and when he arrived, he was completely different than a lot of us saw him in the National League last year. He lost 40 pounds. He's in great shape, and Dave Roberts saw Kemp play well in spring training, and he's been a valuable piece. Kind of a turn back the clock to long ago when Kemp started his career with the Dodgers.
Well, when they first acquired Matt, everybody knew that it was a salary dump and it was a good trade for the Dodgers. But nobody even thought he might even make the team out of the spring training or even would report to spring training. But he reported to spring training in great shape and has really never missed a beat. Completely rejuvenated as far as attitude and concentration. You know, when you play for a possible winner compared to just playing out a string of games, completely different attitude you bring to the ballpark.
And he brings a dangerous bat against lefties. Corbin misses out. Kemp hitting close to 400 against lefties already this year. We do have the strike box on our telecast, which is fun. Gives you an idea of where the pitches end up.
It's interesting. That's a tough pitch because for Kemp, he sees that as giving up on it, being so far away, right? And then it breaks over the outside corner. It's what you would call a backdoor breaking ball.
Patrick Corbin, a 1-2-3 first inning. well as the Diamondbacks with their lefty Patrick Corbin. Alex Wood gets the start for Los Angeles.
Alex has gotten off to a rough start. He's had up and down starts where he's pitched really, really well, and then all of a sudden will lose his release point, make some mistakes, and that pretty much was the MO of his last start. Was shut down, 1 hit over 4 innings, and all of a sudden the next couple innings he gives up 4 and 5 hits and a walk. So Alex looking today to get the ball down, find that release point, and keep it throughout the whole game.
One of the things that's interesting, Oro, is that if I were facing a pitcher and I would go to judge a pitcher to see how nasty he is, I typically would look at walks and hits per innings pitch. Alex Wood sitting there with a .89, that's top 5 in the National League. So seems like he's probably got a little bit of bad luck along the way as well.
Chris Owings climbs in. Nick Ahmed, Paul Goldschmidt will follow. AJ Pollock in the cleanup spot for the Diamondbacks. And that one lines into the seats.
Well, they did this last week. They came out banging last Thursday in Philadelphia. I believe it was Peralta who led off with a base hit, and then right after that, it was Gerard Dyson.
Torey Lovullo looking Bob Brenly-like in those purple throwbacks. Of course, Bob Brenly now highly acclaimed analyst on Diamondbacks television. Of course, the manager of the World Championship team here in Arizona back in 2001. End of the bat, and it falls. And Arizona is in business in the first.
Well, I didn't mean to jinx Alex Wood right there, but that's what I was talking about. Just hits like that, obviously a good pitch. Got Chris Owings out on his front foot, and he ended up serving it into right center field.
And now Nick Ahmed, and you've got Goldschmidt behind him. Diamondbacks would love to bring Pollock to the plate here in the first. Wood coming off just an incredible season last year. Was an all-star, had an ERA of under 3, 16-3. Had one of the better starts for the Dodgers in the World Series as well.
Already has 3 losses this year. Didn't receive his 3rd loss last year till in September. So you think about different types of starts for Alex Wood as far as beginning of the season, and a highly competitive individual who came off his best season of his career and decided to eliminate his windup. And he's going to pitch thoroughly from the stretch today.
Why?
He thinks he's going to be more consistent, and he thinks his stuff is a little sharper.
Well, the poster child for that in the big leagues is Steven Strasburg. And Strasburg has a lot of moving parts, or had a lot of moving parts, and that kind of streamlined his delivery. And Wood, look, as funky as he is, he has a lot of moving parts. In fact, when the Braves scouted him out of Georgia, nice block there by Austin Barnes, the scout that recommended him to the Braves, and Atlanta did draft him in the 2nd round, told the front office, don't change him. Whatever you do, don't change. Don't get the funk out of this guy's delivery.
I agree. He doesn't look like a comfortable at bat at all. As a right-handed hitter, obviously, I used to enjoy facing left-handed pitching, but this does not look like a comfortable at bat.
Ahmed sitting on a 2-1. And then he fouls it back. What makes comfort for you?
Well, typically when you can see the ball early. I like guys with very traditional deliveries. You know, as soon as you got guys cross-firing, the way Alex Wood's doing that, and that 91, all of a sudden it seems like he's spitting it out of his ear. Whenever I can get a good look at the ball and the release and time it up, it made it a lot easier. That's not the case with Alex Wood. Nick Ahmed, by the way.
Hot.
Oh, yeah, he's been killing it.
Change in philosophy this year. He's really letting the ball go. He's swinging a little harder. He's trying to load a little bit more. Not really just trying to make contact, actually trying to drive the ball.
Now you can see it right there, a 2-strike count. Not really giving in to any sort of 2-strike approach. Shoot him to right. Looks like he's taking a hack.
And a swing and a miss.
That's filthy.
Alex Wood, who doesn't walk many people, his 31st strikeout of the season.
Well, this breaking ball was something that Rick Honeycutt, the pitching coach for the Dodgers, encouraged Alex to start throwing more of, make himself more of a 3-pitch pitcher, and that brought on that 16-3 record with Alex's execution.
Here now is Goldschmidt. If you could be a 5-time All-Star, 3 times finish in the top 3 for MVP, and still be underappreciated, this is the guy. And underappreciated is nationally, because certainly they appreciate him here, not only in Arizona, but I think in the National League West. Oral, you see him an awful lot.
Yeah, we see him an awful lot because we're in the National League West, and he is a Dodger killer. I mean, Nick Ahmed would be the guy under the radar that kills the Dodgers, that doesn't really have a reputation. But Paul Goldschmidt, with his unbelievable resume on his way to a Hall of Fame career, is a guy that really kills the Dodgers.
Saw Goldschmidt out there earlier today. He was actually hitting what appeared to be like little plastic golf balls. And
not with a bat. It was like a stick ball.
Yes.
Like, yeah. Looked like the weight of a bat, but as thin as like a broomstick.
So basically, he was minimizing the barrel of the bat and then minimizing the ball and just trying to make things difficult on himself. And then at the end, if you notice, Oral, I think they finished with some plastic balls are actually the real size that he started crushing out to center field.
Well, he's 1 of 11 with 6 strikeouts in this series, which to me is fascinating that the Diamondbacks are where they are. Goldschmidt is struggling. They haven't had Mike Lamb. Steven Souza Jr. arrives on the scene today.
This is interesting to see if he can get any kind of jump. And Alex Wood's going to be tough to run against. I mean, it appears that he's probably 1-2-5 or under to home plate. And I say that in that if I'm facing a right-handed pitcher, even if he's not looking at me and he's 1-2-5 or better, you usually want to put on the brakes. 1.3 seconds or higher is typically when you want to go. And that's the amount of time when the pitcher starts till the ball gets to the catcher. That's the time I'm referring to. But that's quick.
Now, when do you start the clock on a left-hander when you're timing him, right? If you got a guy with a deceptive move that really guards between the same move takes you to first as takes you to home, you got a tough time. If they're long and it's often, you might go on first move.
Yeah. There's very few lefties that I would actually read. For the most part, I was guessing and going first move.
Wood in his career, 18 runners picked off at first, and that went just outside. And Goldschmidt, this is a good sign, a deep at bat and a 3-2 count. He's fouled off a couple pitches.
Well, as much as he's struggled, his on-base percentage is still close to 400, so he is striking out a lot, walking a lot. And once he starts to eliminate the strikeouts, he will be that same dangerous hitter that he's always been.
Let's see if Owings has a read at all. He's running, and Goldschmidt fouls it back to the screen.
Yeah, this is dangerous because you don't want to get picked off, right? So you have to make sure that he's going to home plate. But what Torey Lovullo is saying is that he has confidence in Paul Goldschmidt and not striking out here in this situation. Just because Owings is going to be really difficult for him to get that good jump off of first.
It's an equation for Alex Wood where he can go for the strikeout here, even though it's 3-2, because he knows the runner's going and he knows Goldschmidt. He's in swing mode.
Not running, swing mode, and a strikeout.
And swing mode for me was in the last pitch. He was swinging because it was a strike, and he was in a position where he had to.
You need a program and a lineup to tell the Dodgers this last week. Oral Hershiser, take us through their defense.
Tim LeCastro in center field. First day, first start in the big leagues. Was up here as a pinch runner. Had 1 at bat last year. Alex Verdugo, a rookie that has been hot since he got up here. Matt Kemp, the veteran, everybody knows. Chris Taylor had to slide into shortstop because of the injury of Corey Seager. Enrique Hernandez, Kike he goes by. He'll play all over the field and flash the leather wherever he is.
And here is the hottest hitter on the planet, it seems, A.J. Pollock, who has crushed in this series. 6 for 12, 4 solo homers.
He's been unbelievable. I saw him take a couple swings last week. So this is a week ago on Thursday in Philadelphia. And he fouled a couple balls off like that. And I'm like, this dude's just on it. And he went on to have a monster week. Ended up being named the player of the month in the National League for the month of April.
pulls that one foul. This is a Diamondback organization that is creative and progressive when it comes to their hitting and their pitching. And I think Pollock, along with a few others, has been the beneficiary of that. Dave Magadan, their hitting coach, Tim Laker, the assistant hitting coach. And you heard in the interview with Alana, Pollock mentioned Robert von Scoip, who is the hitting strategist, but he's one of the architects of the modern swing with a lot of hitters. Not only some of these Diamondbacks, but guys on other teams, including the Dodgers and Chris Taylor. The count 1-2 on Pollock.
When you see him take pitches like that, you want to know if a hitter's locked in. Just watch, see how he takes a pitch. So that was Alex Wood's nasty pitch, right? That he just got a strikeout on of Paul Goldschmidt, that he swings and misses in dirt and he wasn't even close to it, right? Pollock didn't even flinch at that ball.
2-2. Got him. Alex Wood looks sharp. 3 strikeouts. Ahmed, Goldschmidt, and Pollock. And the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers, the lefties look good. The lefty for the Dodgers and the lefty for the Diamondbacks is Patrick Corbin. And Alana Rizzo down below has more on the Diamondback starter. Alana?
I tell you what, Rich, he's looked so
.13 on a fastball and only 1 on the slower breaking ball. So if he gets to 2 strikes, you're going to have to lay off the slider in the dirt.
Yeah, if you throw me that slow breaking ball, Oral, you're doing me a favor. That's more of a show me pitch. That slider, I'm not going to be able to hit it. It's the same slider that Alex Wood just threw A.J. Pollock. As hot as A.J. Pollock is, here's a nasty slider down and in, going at my back foot. That's so difficult. That's a great equalizer for a left-handed pitcher against a right-handed hitter.
It's refreshing to me to hear a pitcher talk about having success by taking something off of the slider. And he has thrown some pitches in the upper 60s, lower 70s breaking balls. Here's Bellinger now. And the Dodgers really leaning on guys like Cody Bellinger, Jock Peterson, in the absence of Yasiel Puig, who hopefully is back within a week. And Justin Turner, who's just about to start his rehab assignment from that fractured wrist. Those are 2 big pieces of offense. And especially important that on their return with Corey Seager out for the rest of the year.
Oro, what do you got on the Bellinger benching from the other day?
You know what? I think Dave Roberts made a nice call. I think he handled it really well with Cody. They patched it up that night and then continued their relationship. And I actually, you know how like when you get in a little fight with your brother or your best friend, how it makes you closer? I think it's made the 2 a lot closer already.
Big shift on for Bellinger. Corbin with the count now 1-2.
It's embarrassing enough to get benched a little bit for not hustling. It's another thing to have it be public knowledge. It's another thing that the next game you're coming to your hometown.
Well, here's the thing about him. He's a hustler. And it just, whether he has momentary lapses of judgment. I remember the one earlier in the year down the left field line that he hit it he was watching it. Hey, is it going to go hit fair or foul? Sometimes you get caught up in that position, but make no mistake about it, Cody Bellinger plays hard.
You see Patrick with the no-hitter talk. And Corbin has flirted with a no-hitter. In fact, he had a no-hit bid. Had 2 outs in the 8th. Brandon Belt with a check swing to break it up. So he's had no-hit stuff this year for sure. And if you are watching the comments, we invite you to join the show. In fact, later on in the show, both Orel Hershiser and Eric Burns will be all yours with comments. They'll join the dialogue. That ball's hit well, left field and deep. Owings in the shadows makes the catch.
What an at-bat by Bellinger. Fighting off those tough breaking balls, sticking in there, making a bid to the opposite field. Yeah, the shadows are interesting. Here, defensively, this place is always a lot harder in the outfield to play with the roof open, just because of the variations of light that come in. It's not normal because of the panels that are open, as well as obviously the roof open today. The wind will come in here, and it's sort of swirling.
Austin Barnes left field, and deep, and gone. And the Dodgers have a 1-0 lead.
Austin Barnes said, how's that swirl, Burns? Yeah.
Woo! The ball jumps here to begin with. And I know they have the humidor in effect for the first time this season. But with the roof open and the temperature warming up, balls could be flying today.
Austin Barnes came out of spring training not swinging the bat very well. Then he started to get it together, but has not gotten any results. Still the average below the Mendoza line, but he catches that high fastball and attacks the first one he sees. It was an outstanding swing.
Yeah, man, he pulled his hands inside, Orel, really nicely.
So the Dodgers get a home run. Power that they've been lacking of late, especially against the Diamondbacks. And Kyle Farmer getting a start at third base is the hitter. Yeah, a little later on, Orel, you'll take a turn with dialogue on Facebook, and Eric Burns as well with the shift. That's Marte on the third base side.
I'm just glad we have a designated typer. You know, I need that up here in the booth. My name's Orel, not written. So I'm so glad that we brought somebody up here that can type quicker than my pecking.
Nice.
And I appreciate the fan who caught, I think I dropped a Mike Lamb instead of a Jake Lamb earlier in discussing the Diamondback third baseman. And that's E6.
You know, the great thing about Facebook is we get corrected right on the spot.
Oh, and they will correct you.
We don't have to wait until after the game to read it somewhere else.
The comments come fast and furious. The more the better. And how about this kid? Alex Verdugo, Tucson, Arizona. He's got some serious swag.
He's got some serious game. And as a pure hitter, the Dodger people absolutely love him.
Burnsy, he reminds me a little bit of you. He's got the Mr. T starter set. He's got the 2 batting gloves. He's got the base running guard in his back pocket. He's got high socks. He's got custom made shoes. He's got it all.
Pollock is under, makes the catch. Dodgers on the board. Austin Barnes.
You know that's why I love him, right?
Exactly.
A solo shot to get the Dodgers started as we head to the bottom of the second.
And look at this. I'm talking about pull the hands inside. That's not an easy pitch. Boom.
it can go two ways with a player, right, Eric? When something like that happens, you can pout and you can sulk, or like Bellinger has done, you chalk it up to experience and go get him the next day.
Yeah, and that's basically what he did. I can understand Cody's perspective, though. And, you know, even in more defensive Cody, it's just the fact that he hustles 98 plays out of 100, but we happen to see 2 within the past couple of weeks, Oral, in which he didn't. Now, the other thing is, you've heard the fact that, you know, look, this is one of the fastest guys on the Dodgers team. And even according to StatCast, with the sprint speed and everything, he's at the top, along with Chris Taylor. So he probably should have been on third base.
Steven Souza Jr. with a roller up the line. This is a guy that the Diamondbacks are anxious to unleash on the National League West. Souza, with the Rays last year, was their MVP. 30 homers, drove in 78, was on base at 351. He slugged 459. He can run. He's got an outstanding arm in the outfield as well.
Well, with the exodus of J.D. Martinez going to Boston, this was the bat that they thought was going to fill that gap. And I think they're going to be very satisfied with him once he gets on a roll and gets into the season.
Ironically, the hitting style of Martinez, who revamped his swing and certainly had a renaissance and has been sailing ever since. Souza is similar to that. His swing path and the people that he's worked with are the same people that J.D. Martinez worked with to get where he is now. So he should fit right in, and Alex Wood is dealing. He has punched out 4 straight Diamondbacks.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks really good. You saw Souza begging for this to be a ball right here, but I mean, that's basically 91 split right down the middle. I talked about the deceptive delivery. If you're not familiar with Alex Wood, he's going to take several at-bats to get used to try to pick up the release point.
Here is Marte, the 24-year-old Dominican, who came over from Seattle in a trade that might be known soon as the Mitch Haniger deal.
Oh, Mitch Haniger, Midi High School, West Catholic Athletic League.
There you go. He's had a outstanding start with Seattle. Taiwan Walker and Marte came from Seattle for Gene Segura, Mitch Haniger, and Zach Curtis, who's with the Phillies now. A liner in the left. And the Diamondbacks have their second base runner, their second hit off of Alex Wood.
You see a lot of swings like this off Alex Wood with the good off-speed stuff that he keeps down. He'll get guys out in front, and just the end of a swing might catch him. So if it's a little high or not quite as off-speed, you've got enough swing left to hit that little humpback line drive into the outfield.
Devin Marrero now, who's getting the start at third base. Torey Lovullo, like most National League managers, including Dave Roberts, has some guys he can move around and play in a lot of spots. Marrero, one of those guys. Daniel Descalso, who's had a terrific series, had some big hits this year already, is another guy that can play anywhere on the infield and actually started a game in left field, played some left field last year.
Yeah, Descalso's been huge for these guys. Let's just look at the numbers. 15 stakes already for Descalso.
And 2 of the biggest for Descalso came on Tuesday night after he made an error in left field that led to a run. He more than made up for it with a 2-run triple. That ball's crossed center field and deep. Back to the wall is LoCastro, and he makes the leap and makes the catch. And retreating to first is Ketel Marte. Tim LoCastro, in his first major league start, sent to the wall, and he comes away with a nice catch.
Real nice play by LoCastro, just not tripping out there. And it's easier said than done. Look at the part of the wall at the 407, just right of the 407. It actually sticks out. So you saw LoCastro going back. I'm sure he took some balls in BP at some point. He went out there. He has an idea of what that's featuring. But this is one of the most difficult center fields, if not the most difficult center field to play in all of baseball. There's a lot of turf to cover. Not on top of that, you just have really quirky angles. Real nice play.
I've heard that before, that this is one of the most difficult center fields in baseball because of the porches out there in right and left center, and the flat center field wall as well. It's not curved. It's a flat wall.
Well, think about this, right? We're sitting in this broadcast booth. Imagine if we're standing underneath this broadcast booth and you're telling us, okay, we're going to hit a fly ball, go ahead and catch it.
Yeah.
And you have to try to decide, okay, am I going to go camp under, say, where the porch is that comes over, or are you going to back up and make sure it doesn't turn into an inside the park home run? Now, the big thing is here is that your left fielder and your right fielder need to get over every single time when a ball is hit the center field because of the ricochets that come off either the overhangs or, of course, the brick wall that's in back of the padded wall.
Jeff Mathis at the plate, and a 3-0 fastball for a strike, and it's 3-1. You've got Corbin on deck. Corbin's a pretty good hitter and a terrific athlete. In fact, his batting average probably better than Mathis. Jeff, as everybody knows, not a great hitter for average, but one of the best defensive catchers going. And a swing and a miss. He'll run into one every now and then. He's got some pop, but he's known for his glove. He's known for handling pitchers, and that has kept him employed and will keep him employed for a while.
It's a great personality, a great bedside manner for a whole staff, and Arizona will move their catchers around depending on who has the best relationship and who seems to get the best out of each pitcher.
How big of a difference was it for you, Oriole, as to who you threw to?
It's huge. I mean, you could throw to everybody, but that special relationship, it's definitely an advantage as far as mentally, and you know the game starts in your mind. If your mind is slow and comfortable, then your mechanics and the way you approach the game really helps you. And so that relationship, that rhythm between how they put the signal down, how they move to their target area, what the height is, how accurate the target is depending on the batter and the count, it's all very personal.
Oftentimes you'll see a guy like Mathis paired with a young pitcher. Zach Greinke is a guy that he works with almost exclusively. And sometimes it works in reverse. I remember when Brian McCann got to the big leagues in Atlanta, Bobby Cox put him with John Smoltz. And that was obviously great for McCann. He learned an awful lot. And so Corbin will get to swing the bat. Mathis walks and pushes Marte to second. If you're just joining us here on our Facebook Watch telecast, as you see, we've got fans who are with us with our discussion. Only outdone by the Green Monster seats at Fenway, where you can hang out over center field.
What a great call by Tom right there, because he's right. Those Green Monster seats at Fenway, I've sat front row. Man, those are cool. I mean, you literally are it feels like, I told my kids, I said, you want to know what it feels like to play left field in the big leagues? This is it.
Right.
Like you're just there. You're on top of everything, and you get. I literally found myself, Rich, like moving with the ball left or right as it was hit, almost as if I was playing.
All right, Wood, who had struck out 4 straight, has walked Mathis. He's 1-0 on Corbin, who, as we talked about, is an outstanding athlete. He played a year of junior college basketball. He's a terrific basketball player in high school growing up in upper state New York. 360 dunks. Could dunk standing still.
Sounds like something you could do, Burnsy.
You're not kidding, Oriole. You're not kidding.
You are so humble.
I'll say this. My claim to fame, and I don't think it can be topped in any sport, was 56 points in an 8th grade basketball game.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Was that before the 3-point line or after?
3-point line was there.
I don't mean to get on you, but was that against 6th graders?
No, but it was against Pescadero. They had like 11 kids that went to their school. I'm not kidding.
There is actually, if you want to join the Pescadero chat group, apparently there is one forming right now, along with the Diamondback and the Dodger discussions. So
I could always take it to the hoop, and I had no shot. It was a one day I actually made a couple buckets. And for all those at home saying, hey, Burns, pass the ball, you ball hog, we had another kid who had 30.
I mean, to compliment you, you are a raw, unbelievable athlete. And you could play every sport no matter what because you could overpower it. You just had that kind of ability. Probably still have a lot of it.
Raw's a good word.
No,
awkward's another one.
I don't know if there's any. Was there any finesse to your game?
None.
Yeah,
Zero.
I think it was full bore, run through a brick wall kind of finesse.
Count 1-2. Corbin and the Diamondbacks down a run here. Alex Wood, it's up. So I know people want to know, what does he look like dunking? Now this was after his, well, after his junior college days, but that's just to show you.
Yeah, that was easy, right?
Oh yeah,
no effort.
He's looking at a 2-2 pitch here. Marte's at second. Mathis not held at first.
Ooh.
And Corbin fights it off.
Look out. Well, I like to see a replay of where that ball actually hit. I mean, this has got to be
close to his pitching hand.
Inches from his hands.
He's lucky he's a great athlete, pulling his hands in there to get some wood on that instead of some bone.
Another 2-2. Line into center field, and it falls for a hit. Marte around third. Patrick Corbin ties the game. Well, we told you he's a great athlete, and we showed you he's a very good hitter for a pitcher. And this was a great at-bat.
And Oral, you were right on. Like, just the fact that he was able to find a way to get any of the bat onto the ball in the previous pitch, and then he comes back and drills a base hit to center field right here. That's impressive. That's not an easy thing to do against a tough left-handed Alex Wood.
Rick Honeycutt out for a visit.
Well, Alex Wood just wanting to get back on the right page. It can shake you mentally when you give up a 2-out hit to a pitcher, but Patrick Corbin is not your typical pitcher. He's having a Cy Young start to the year on the mound, and the athleticism equates and moves into the batter's box. So it is Dodgers 1, Corbin 1.
The top of the order coming up with Chris Owings. Now, a couple things have happened here. Not only have the Diamondbacks tied the game, they've pushed the pitch count for Wood close to 50 now. He's at 48, and this is just bottom of the second.
And they got in that bullpen last night too as well. The Dodgers bullpen was really good, but
well, they got in because of the injury to Ryu. He pulled his groin, and he might be out till after the All-Star break. That was another blow to the Dodger disabled list.
Yeah, that was shocking news when we heard it this morning. Not about the injury, we saw it and heard the report, but the time frame of him coming back after the All-Star break.
Yeah, the severity of it. It's not just a minor pull there. You know, they grade those, and if you get all the way up to the highest grade, it can be needed to be surgically repaired. We haven't heard anything like that about Ryu, but it is a big loss for the Dodgers because really, you know, Clayton Kershaw is the best pitcher on the planet. He's the ace, but he's gotten off to a slow start because of run support and a little bit on his own making, not really pitching up to the bar that he has set for himself. But Ryu was the guy that was carrying the rotation.
Owings single back in the first. And it takes inside. Alana Rizzo, you've got more.
Guys, yesterday the frustration and depression for Hyun-Jin Ryu was a bit palpable after he had to come out of the inning in that second inning with that groin strain. I mean, this is a guy that has fought injuries for the better part of 2-3 seasons and finally was able to come into spring training healthy and not have to worry about rehab, but just have to worry about getting his arm strength up to pitch for the season. Statistically, the best Dodgers starter coming into the year, 3-0 in that start yesterday. And he said, I was really appreciating the way that I was able to get things done on the mound. The frustration was really tough to see him go through that last night, considering the start that he had been off to.
All right, Alana, thank you for that. Chris Owings bounces out. Inning is over. Alex Wood pushed his pitch count up to 50. And the Diamondbacks and Patrick Corbin have tied the game. Or one of the big moments of the postseason last year.
I'll take some actual batting practice.
Hey, Justin, take us through the steps of what you have to clear before all of a sudden you can be in a game and swing at live pitching.
Well, it's just kind of progressing through all the hitting. I've started with some dry swings and then went on to the tee. Was hitting off a tee with a fungo and then progressed to a regular bat, and then went to soft toss with tennis balls with a fungo, and then soft toss with tennis balls with a regular bat. Yesterday, hit 3 rounds of soft toss with real baseballs, and then went on the field and took a round of soft toss with regular baseballs. And so now we're graduating. I don't know, maybe they'll have me take BP with tennis balls, and maybe a live BP. We can see if we can get a pitcher to go out there and throw some tennis balls too.
Justin, that's amazing. I actually got hit by a pitch. I broke my 5th metacarpal, and what he's talking about is basically the exact same thing I went through. I know one of the things that I dealt with was the pain actually never really went away for, let's just say, a good 6 months. So I was back playing for several months before it was completely gone. How does your wrist feel now, and what's the pain factor like?
Yeah, it feels pretty good now. We kind of took our time and made sure it was pretty much all the way out of there before I started swinging, and it actually feels great swinging so far. I haven't had it bite me at all taking swings. So the only thing that's kind of got me hesitant right now is trying to backhand a ground ball. It puts me in kind of an awkward position with my glove, and the way the ball hits it, it kind of bites it a little bit. But there's some soreness there after every day. But like you said, it's something that, once I go through all the progressions and I start taking live ABs against pitchers and go out, I'll probably have to deal with some of that when I come back, and hopefully it'll kind of callus over and build some scar tissue and eventually go away.
Tim LeCastro, who's getting the start in center field for the Dodgers right now, strikes out. Alex Wood coming to the plate against Patrick Corbin, and Chris Taylor will follow. You faced Patrick Corbin. You've been watching him. What makes him such a difficult at bat, and the wave that he's riding right now is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think the breaking ball command this year is significantly better. He's throwing that back foot slider, and he's changing shapes on it. He's throwing it a little harder. He's taking some off, and not really leaving too many mistakes out over the plate. So I guess that's the name of the game when you're a pitcher. If you can live on the black and make pitches look like strikes and end up being balls, you're going to have a lot of success.
Justin, if you go up there against a guy like Patrick Corbin, who throws his breaking ball 50% of the time, are you looking for it?
Yeah, I think so. I think what I try to do off guys that, especially to me, throw a lot of soft stuff, is I try to keep my fastball timing even though I'm looking for breaking ball. And if he throws a fastball out over the plate, I'll still have a chance to put a good swing on it. So, yeah, this is a guy, especially the way he's throwing the ball now, I'd probably be sitting soft on him.
Justin, magical season last year, and then this season starts off the way it does with all the injuries. What's it like to exercise that muscle of being tough and fighting through this?
Yeah, it's tough. You know, it's especially when the guys are here in Arizona. I'm over at the complex in the morning at 8:30, 9 o'clock, doing my workout till about 2, and then come home for a little bit, grab some food, and then back over to the field. It's like having 2 days right now. But looking forward to the trip down to Mexico, where I get to sleep in a little bit.
Other than personally, though, what's the vibe on the team when you're over here joining them?
Yeah, you know, the guys are doing good. We're obviously going through a tough spot right now. Had a rough April, but I think if you look at what we did last year, we had a worse rough patch last year than we're going through right now. So it is a long year. I'm not saying that we can just sit back and say everything's going to fall into place. It's about working hard and grinding through some stuff, but you got to stay positive. You got to show up and be ready to play every day. And that's the beauty of baseball, is you don't have to wait a week in between games. You get to play every single day, and you never know when that moment's going to happen that's going to turn everything around for you.
Chris Taylor at the plate. He was like you, although you did it before he did. You revamped your swing and your career has taken off. Chris has done the same. Do you see similarities in where you were and are now to where the transformation he's made?
Yeah, definitely kind of the same story. Just a utility guy who was serviceable, but able to take quality at bats and didn't really drive the ball, do too much damage, and found someone to help him with some swing changes, and next thing you know, he's driving balls out of the ballpark to left center, right center, down the line, and he's really turned into an outstanding baseball player and a huge part of our team, especially at the top of the order. So kind of the same thing I went through, just make some adjustments, change the way you think about hitting a little bit, and now those singles are turning into doubles, and the doubles are turning into homers.
Justin, I got a 6-year-old kid at home. How would you recommend I teach him how to hit?
I think you just let him go about it right now. He's 6 years old. Just let him have fun and do whatever he wants to do. He's got a lot of room to grow and get older, and once he gets up into the high school age where he can start understanding what he's actually trying to do, then maybe you can start teaching him. But right now, I think the younger kids, it's about enjoying the game and being able to love the game.
I think I'd prefer to go into launch angle, though, with them.
All right, Justin.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thanks, bro.
And enjoy your trip to Mexico. I know you guys are going there to play the Padres. And enjoy your bobblehead night, and let's hope to see you on the field soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, Justin Turner of the Dodgers. Now, look, Orel Hershiser. It's Rich Waltz, Orel Hershiser, Eric Burns, Alana Rizzo.
Now, this is no joke.
That was spicy.
Nick Ahmed leads it off. Paul Goldschmidt, A.J. Pollock here, bottom 3. And Alex Wood gets out with a strike there, and the count is 1-1. Now the pool out in right field. That's, of all of the dust-ups and the bad blood, that seems to be the headliner, because the video's fun to see the Dodgers frolicking in the pool. The reaction from the Diamondbacks was one of anger, so to speak.
Understood.
And understood. You guys have been a part of the rivalry as players. Oral, you as a broadcaster, and Eric, you as a Diamondback.
Yeah, when I was there, I don't think there was a lot of bad blood, no. Because, look, 07, we went to the National League Championship Series against the Rockies. I would say that was definitely more of our rival at that point. But, yeah, things have gotten very heated between these two teams. I feel like Oral and I should lace up the gloves and...
Look, Castro makes the catch in center field.
We're on Facebook, and we don't represent a uniform anymore. We're part of this team.
Correct.
You've sworn an oath, right?
So I thought this was a safe zone, the booth. And when you leave the booth, I'm waiting until you get to your car.
And what happens in some cities that don't have a long history of baseball is you get fans, especially in close proximity, of other teams that come to your park. It happens here in Arizona. Cubs fans, Dodger fans arrive, so that can stir it up a little bit too.
Well, the history of the rivalry really for the Dodgers is to go back to the Dodgers and the Giants, of course, all the way back to Brooklyn,
yes,
in New York, and then coming to the West Coast together. And so that is an exceptional rivalry. I think now that the Dodgers spring training is here in Arizona and Glendale, it's starting to heat up a little bit more because you see each other in spring training. You're not separated in spring training. You see each other there. And I think it gets more personal with organizations and players when rosters don't shift as much. And these two rosters might be a lot alike for a while.
With young talent that's not going anywhere.
Right. And the Dodgers didn't shift their roster very much this year. And really, the Diamondbacks have not in a big way either.
Well, not only that, they're both good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
That makes a rivalry fun when the teams are good.
Oh, yeah.
When one's not good and the other's winning, the fact that the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers last year met in the postseason. And the other thing is this: the managers like each other.
Mm-hmm.
They like each other a lot. They are both from UCLA.
Yes, they are, Rich Waltz.
And I wanted to bring that up later in the game rather than here in the bottom of the third. But Eric Burns, you're a proud Bruin as well. We spent time with both managers today, and in a rivalry like this, you would expect, oh, we don't like those guys. No, they were both.
Usually in pre-meetings, I get a lot of information, but I got more information about UCLA than the Dodgers in Arizona because Eric.
And both managers were so complimentary of the other.
Well, you got to understand, we go to Torey Lovullo's office. He had a UCLA Bruin football helmet in there. He had the Pyramid of Success, of course. John Wooden, representation in his office.
Goldschmidt strikes out, by the way. Alex Wood has still got some good stuff out there. 5 strikeouts. He's given up a run on 3 hits.
I also found it interesting. Dave Roberts, when we left his office, actually said, hey, tell Torey I said hello. So we relayed that information.
A.J. Pollock now, he struck out in the first. Oral, what's your thought in watching Alex Wood? You've seen him an awful lot. He's had some good moments in this game, and he, in the bottom of the order, in the bottom of the second, gave up a run.
Yeah, but if you watch the way they're hitting the ball, they're not hitting it hard. They're finding holes, and I think the most frustrating thing for Alex is just giving up the hit to Corbin. And probably the walk prior to that helped kind of turn the lineup over and bring him there. So if he goes back and analyzes it, and that one run hurts him in a big way, it's going to be the walk and the hit to the pitcher that is the only thing that sticks out as something that he would want to control himself later.
And again, the thing that inning did especially was pitch count. It drove it up. That's in the hole. Taylor with a dive. Pollock beats it out. Arizona has their 4th hit, and it brings Souza to the plate with 2 outs.
What a play by Taylor here, ranging deep into the hole, getting up, firing across. Bob Guerin kind of mentioned something about him playing shortstop and whether or not him spending some time in the outfield has actually helped his arm over at shortstop. But that's what makes A.J. Pollock so good. I mean, not only the fact that he's just been absolutely crushing it with the bat, but this dude can run. He plays unbelievable outfield. Got a good arm. It's a total package.
Steven Souza Jr., his Diamondback debut, called out on strikes in the second. This is a big guy with a lot of pop in a breakout year with the Rays last year, a three-way trade. He arrived in Arizona as the Diamondbacks tried to plug that hole of J.D. Martinez, who was here briefly, made a nice impact, and then left. And oftentimes you hear, for a hitter especially, who is injured and then has to join a team early in the season, it's a different feel. It's not like you're coming right out of spring training.
I bet you Souza's looking forward to putting on the throwback sleeveless Diamondback unis. Let those guns eat.
You know, the interesting thing about the Diamondbacks' fast start is the fact that it really hasn't been built on their offense. It's been built on solid starting pitching, some of it elite, and then the bullpen that's the best in baseball. And they've been doing just enough offensively and getting a lot of clutch hits to win close games.
How about that humidor, Oral?
Yeah, they're keeping the baseballs a little bit more moisture in them.
I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that
as a hitter. You wouldn't be, yeah.
Alex Wood's nasty.
Kike Hernandez, Matt Kemp, Cody Bellinger scheduled for the Dodgers. This is game 4 of a 4-game series, and the Diamondbacks winners in the first 2 games. Dodgers last night, despite losing their starting pitcher early, had to get into that bullpen, which had been a sore spot for the club this year. But that bullpen was terrific last night, and the Dodgers pulled out a win. They have a chance to do 2 things if they split this series. They can draw within 7 games of the Diamondbacks, and they can stop this incredible streak that the Diamondbacks are on. Arizona has won every series that they have played this year, and that's won the series, not split the series. They've won every series that they have played. Pollock is under it, and Kike Hernandez is out number 1. I've seen a couple of comments on Facebook that pennants are won in September, not in May. But as the old saying goes, sometimes you can lose one early in the season. The Dodgers 8 back. That was the importance of the win last night, Oral.
Well, the Diamondbacks have had the Dodgers number in the regular season. Going into last night before the Dodger win, they had won 13 of the last 14 games against the Dodgers. So stretching that lead coming into this series with all the Dodger injuries and how the Diamondbacks have gotten off to a fast start. They were right there as the best record in baseball with Boston Red Sox. It was a huge series and a big win for the Dodgers last night, and now trying to split the series compared to letting the Diamondbacks win a series again, which would be their 10th in a row. It does still seem like a big game, even though it's early in the season.
Matt Kemp gets into that one, drills it in the gap, and it's going to go to the wall. Couple hops, Kemp around first, arrives at second. with a one-out double. And his nice start to 2018 continues.
Yeah, he's looking like the guy that I remember first coming up and playing against and thinking this is a potential Hall of Fame type player.
Corbin has given up 2 hits, both on his fastball, has 4 strikeouts, all on his slider. So the Dodgers, when they do recognize the heater, are trying to attack it.
That's interesting. That's why I asked Justin Turner about what his approach would be against Corbin, being that he throws 50% breaking ball. But if the breaking ball is an unhittable pitch, why would you even want to hit it?
Diamondbacks are an aggressive, very aggressive defensive shifting team, and right now they've got 3 infielders on the right side. They would have Marrero even further over, but he's got Kemp to worry about at second. So Marrero, who's out of your shot there, is over at closer to a conventional third base spot. And Bellinger takes outside.
Today's day and age, with all the shifting, infielders have to be used to making the long throw if they happen to be on the left side, and get used to the short throw, and sometimes even the throw from shallow right field.
Well, Michael wants to know if, since Kemp, in his opinion, was not running full speed, does he get pulled too? We had that discussion on Bellinger. I think Kemp's in a different category. He's a veteran player and a guy that's had hip and hamstring and quad injuries, and last year really had a hard time mobility-wise in Atlanta. So health-wise and speed-wise, he's not nearly comparable to Bellinger.
Well, and he wasn't going to get a triple out of it either.
I think for a guy like Kemp, rule 1 is don't get hurt, don't pull something at this point.
Well, Matt Kemp, with the weight loss and being in really good shape, has been the #1 player in baseball to increase his game speed.
Really?
And yeah, so his best improvement from last year.
Good for him.
But a veteran player like that, you want him to stride out and hustle on everything, but you don't want that last 10% of effort. And especially when a veteran guy reads that the ball is going to the left center gap and it's probably not going to turn into a triple. I think the focus on Cody Bellinger came when the ball was into the right center gap in San Francisco, which is triples alley.
Corbin at 3-2 coming. Kemp at second, and Bellinger just stays alive and dribbles it foul. Of course, Bellinger had a huge year last year, Rookie of the Year. Have they run out of room for the Rookie of the Year montage at Dodger Stadium up on the wall down the right field line? We got my good buddy Todd Hollingsworth up there, all the great rookies.
Eric Karros, Mike Piazza,
Fernando Valenzuela.
Fernando,
who will be celebrated in a huge way down in Monterrey, Mexico.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
So, Rookie of the Year last year, home runs by direction. Which way you going? He did go opposite field, albeit to that left center alley.
His full swing approach has really not changed, but where he is starting to mature is his 2-strike approach, and also when he is facing a tough customer like a Corbin.
Check swing, and a nice play by Marrero. Now that's an out he doesn't get if Kemp isn't at second base, because Marrero's over towards the middle of the diamond.
A real nice play right there.
So Bellinger is out number 2. And now Corbin faces Austin Barnes. The only run for the Dodgers came on a Barnes line drive homer to left center. His first of the season.
Only thing worse than a check swing out is a strikeout. Always felt like you just never put your best foot forward, but still didn't. And I get it. in today's age, it's okay to strike out. Bottom barrel, the worst.
Still the worst feeling.
Way worse than hitting it into a double play.
My profession was pretty good.
Yeah, Oral felt really good about that.
Yes, it was, Oral.
every time I've seen Corbin or Wood get a strikeout, I look over and Oral's been beaming.
You know, the Dodgers with runners in scoring position has really been part of their cold streak. They scored 15 in a doubleheader day in San Francisco. 5 games since, it hasn't been good with runners in scoring position, and this home run by Barnes is their only tally today, and he picked on a high fastball from Corbin. But that's not a hit with the runners in scoring position. That's a hit from the batter's box where you feel like you're in scoring position.
Speaking of streaks, and I've wanted to ask you this since this morning when I first encountered you. At what point did you start thinking about your scoreless inning streak?
It got newsy, and it was a streak around 35 innings.
And it went to 56.
59.
Oh, jeez.
67, including the playoffs, but they don't count. It's all right.
They don't count?
Somebody came down and pitched in my body. It was like an out-of-body experience. God came down, threw the ball for a while.
Kemp still at second with 2 outs. Later in the telecast here on Facebook Watch, we are going to discuss some of the many streaks in baseball, including yours, and the ones that we feel will never be broken.
You know, mine will be broken someday.
67.
Well, 59 is counted.
Yeah, I get it, but
I gave up a run the first inning of the next year.
Probably was a good winter for you.
It was a very busy winter. It included the last Reagan State dinner, and I sat next to Margaret Thatcher and at President Reagan's table. It included a lot of great things, being on the Johnny Carson show.
Did Margaret Thatcher inquire as to how you grip your breaking ball?
No, I don't know if she really even knew who I was. But the president did, and it was a lot of fun to talk to him.
1-1 pitch is a strike.
Now, did you teach Ronald Reagan what you taught me this morning about how you worked both sides of the plate?
It might have come up. I actually got in conversation with him, finally got to the point where I was brave enough to ask him a question instead of just answering him. And I said, Mr. President, what's it like to be president of the Screen Actors Guild, governor of California, and then become, the president of the United States? And he honestly said to me, kind of leaning in so nobody else would hear it, you know, Oral, without the actor's training, I'm not sure I could do this job. It's one of my favorite moments and favorite conversations I've ever been in. He was asking me inside stuff about baseball and what happened in certain games, and then I finally got brave enough to ask him a question.
Good at bat by Austin Barnes. There's that Corbin breaking ball. That's in talking to the Dodger hitters and in talking to even the Diamondback people, that breaking ball right there, that slider in. Dave Roberts said, hey, Burnsy, do you think you can get out there and give me 3 at bats? And he said, just don't swing at the slider down and in. That's our scouting report.
Yeah. I told him I'd scrap for him, but I got a better chance of running a ball down in the gap than I do making contact on that Corbin slider.
See if he throws it 2-2. Yeah, he does, and that's the location. Why is that location, why has that pitch been so good for Corbin?
Well, it's so good for Corbin because Eric covered it earlier. It looks like a fastball. And I think it's a huge question that Eric can answer for fans is, what is that gap between data and knowing what a guy's going to do and executing it and not taking it?
Mm-hmm. You have to understand.
You got to have world-class ability, right? World-class vision.
When you're standing in the box, it just becomes reaction. So all of the work. All the work gets done before. Ball's outside. Real good call right there. But the work's done before, right? You prepare as well as you can, and then as a hitter, when you get into the box, get dumb. See it, hit it. Keep it as simple as possible.
Long at bat, full count. Matt Kemp, a 1-out double. He's still at second. 2 outs here in the 4th. And that one he left up. Barnes punishes it. It's foul. And it's still at 3-2.
Well, this is interesting because he's on a slider, and not a lot of guys have been. And the pitch that he hit out was a fastball. So this might just be one of those weird situations where Austin Barnes is a good matchup facing Patrick Corbin.
Outfield deep. Remember, Kemp does not run well at this stage in his career.
With 2 outs and 2 strikes, he's going to get a good jump, and it'll be really hard to throw him out unless it's just a one-hopper right at somebody.
As a runner at second base right here, you're literally just looking for a strike, and you could take off on a strike even before he swings.
And Jeff Mathis thought it was a strike. He headed towards the dugout. Barnes headed in the opposite direction to first. Jordan Baker, the home plate umpire, didn't budge.
No, he didn't. And it looked like that ball caught the bottom of the zone. But the D-backs are obviously not very happy. It hit the bottom, I believe.
Now the strike zone, for those of you that are watching the strike box here, the strike zone, remember, starts at the front of the plate.
The interesting thing about the strike zone is the players go back and see it on TV, right? And they actually come back up and are now giving feedback to the umpires like, hey, my bad, I saw it, you got it right. Or they can tell the umpire like, yeah, you did miss that one. It was about 2-3 inches outside.
Kyle Farmer up now, runners first and second. And the box that you see is the same technology that the umpires are graded on and that they grade themselves on.
Well, Mathis kind of butchered this, but it looks like the home plate umpire was about to ring him up and almost stopped midway.
An umpire can have a check swing.
I think he just had it, Oral.
Well, it extends the inning for Corbin. His pitch count is into the 60s here.
I think the Diamondbacks are upset because there was 2 pitches.
2 borderline ones.
Yeah, really close.
And you know, without video evidence from the bench, you really can only judge north and south. You can't judge east and west.
And oftentimes the judgment comes from where the catcher caught it. And as you pointed out, Mathis had it down low. But again, the strike zone is at the front of the plate. And a pitch that a catcher does have to almost scoop out of the dirt can be a strike. It's a tough visual.
When a catcher catches that pitch well, he'll talk about beating the ball to the spot. So as that breaking ball looks like it's leaving the strike zone, the catchers want to reach out almost and get it when it's a little higher and firm that grip. So the ball seems like it is actually in the strike zone, and it is, compared to tracing and tracking with the ball. And now the glove is moving away from the strike zone. It gives the illusion to the umpire that it never hit the strike zone.
Hitting coaches talk about stringing together at bats as a lineup, and the Dodgers have done a nice job of that here in this inning. And all of a sudden, Corbin's slider has lost a little of its effectiveness. And a 2-0 to Farmer. Roll to the left side. Marrero to second. And the Dodgers leave a couple here in the 4th. A resource, and he blends it quite well.
You know, his transition from bench coach to manager was seamless. He had great mentors, learned a lot from friendship with Bruce Bochy. Of course, Bud Black, who was pictured there on our feature. And I'll tell you what, he has come in, and where it really rings true with Dave, how you see him, how you feel him is the way he is all the time. He has so much integrity as far as the depth of the person that he is and how positive he is.
And were it not for a knee injury in high school, he wouldn't be wearing a Dodger uniform. In fact, he wouldn't be wearing a baseball uniform. He was a terrific option quarterback in high school. He was recruited by Oklahoma, who with Barry Switzer ran the option at that point. And Fisher DeBerry as well at Air Force. They're known for their option. And that knee injury, he said, took away some mobility and brought his baseball career even with his football career, and he decided to give baseball a shot and had to walk on at UCLA.
Well, the obstacle is away because he went to UCLA, had a Hall of Fame career there, and then backed it up with 10+ good seasons in the big leagues. And I can't think of a better man to be the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He just fits.
Ketel Marte, Devin Marrero, and Jeff Mathis. And the pitch is out to Marte. Marte was 0 for 6 in the series before singling in the second. Alex Wood in a 1-1 game, but his pitch count, as you heard Alana and Dave Roberts talk about, is a bit problematic right now. Marte with a leadoff walk. Got the bottom of the order, though. You got Marrero, Mathis, and then Patrick Corbin. But, of course, Corbin drove in the only run with an RBI single.
The Dodgers with the benefit of a 10-man bullpen today after the Ryu DL. So they were able to replace a starter with a reliever. And so they got a lot of work down there yesterday because Ryu was knocked out with the injury in the second inning. Did an outstanding job yesterday, and they're going to need to continue that here today at some point because Alex is going to run out of pitches.
Wood misses out. Wood was an all-star last year. And in this day and age of Tommy John surgery, where it feels like, and I think numbers prove this out, where almost a third of the pitchers in the big leagues have Tommy John surgery in their history. Woods came his freshman year at Georgia. And this would be a visit here.
You know, we get bigger and stronger as every generation moves on, and it seems like, you know, a big person used to be 6 foot. Now a big person is more like 6'5" or 6'6". But the thing we cannot strengthen as everything gets stronger is this connective tissue, and especially with, you know, the emphasis now a little bit off on pitching and location and movement and more into velocity. We are stressing that ligament at a very early age. We're seeing more and more guys needing it replaced.
And of course, with the Dodgers, the latest Tommy John news comes not for a pitcher but a shortstop, and it does happen. There are position players that have that injury. They're sometimes their rehab and return is a little shorter, but still it's a huge loss. But it's not unheard of that position players have Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, less wear and tear from a position than straining it every 5th day for about 110 pitches plus the side work in between, plus all the play and catch the pitchers do to experiment on their grips and work on their mechanics. So you can build a throwing program back for a position player a little bit quicker than a pitcher.
Marte's at first. Wood to Marrero. Hard on the ground. Taylor. Kike Hernandez with the turn. And Alex Wood gets 2 outs with 1 pitch. And here comes Jeff Mathis.
Oral, do you think guys throw with more effort now than when you pitched?
I think there is so much emphasis on velocity and what is your top end, so that then you can work from that arm speed to create spin or create change of velocity, that, yeah, I think guys are throwing harder. I think the radar gun is probably a little more sophisticated in picking it up earlier. whereas the radar gun in my day in the 80s, it maybe picked up the ball a little bit closer to home plate where the ball's already decelled, maybe 2 or 3 miles an hour.
But you also took the ball to go 9 innings. A lot of the pitchers now are groomed to take the ball and go 5.
Yeah, I didn't try to throw every pitch as hard as I could when I saw a fastball signal. I actually thought that changing speeds, you should change speeds up as well as down. So I tried to pitch at about 85% of velocity level, and knowing that if I get in a jam, I can get to 92, maybe 93 miles an hour, but I'm going to pitch at 88 to 91. And so, but I don't think you can find that mentality now.
Jeff Mathis rolls it out to short, and that's exactly what Alex Wood needed, was a short pitch inning. And as he gets through the 4th.
Fans, if you are celebrating your birthday.
High 80s, low 90s.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I think once again you're going to see 3 teams come out of the National League West. I see the Dodgers making the postseason. I do not see them winning the West. Right now, the way things are, so long as Arizona stays healthy and continues to play up to their capabilities, and I think that's what they're doing right now. I really think this is a great indication of who this team is, what we've seen here in the early going. So I think they will win the West, but I also believe that Colorado is a team that will make the postseason, as well as the Los Angeles Dodgers.
This is a head start by the Diamondbacks as far as record. And when you talk about injuries, they're having the same kind of injuries.
Nice sliding catch by Marte. Robs Verdugo of a hit. And that's the first out of the 5th inning.
The disabled list of the Diamondbacks is pretty full too. And you know, now you have Robbie Ray that's gone down. You had Taijuan Walker with Tommy John surgery. So I think both rosters are going to get stronger as they get healthier.
Well, the Dodgers roster and the way it sits right now is an opportunity for this guy, Tim LeCastro. We didn't really have a chance to formally introduce him. Ithaca College, 25 years old, a lot of speed, a lot of stolen bases in the minor leagues, and good numbers at 295, 375, 406 slash line in the minor leagues. Souza, with the glasses filled with sunshine, makes the catch. And here comes Alex Wood with 2 outs. By the way, if you're watching on whatever device you're on, whether you're on a phone, a tablet, if you're streaming onto your television set, if you're on your laptop, if you'd like to remove the comments on your phone, just swipe right across the screen. Swipe left will bring them back. Tap the screen. You can also bring up the quiet mode button. And then tap again if you want to bring it back. On your computer or desktop, hover over the live video, not physically with the mouse actually. And then though some may hover the other way, and that'll bring up the quiet mode button. And you can click on that same button to bring the comments back.
Are you telling people to mute us, Rich Waltz?
No, I'm talking about the comments on the side of the. Well, I'm sure many people have done that already and switched to either Charlie Steiner or the Diamondbacks' great radio team as well. But Patrick Corbin, ladies and gentlemen. Alex Wood caught looking. Corbin strong through the fifth. Halfway through on Facebook Watch here in Phoenix as the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. That and right now on the mound, Alex Wood with the Dodger trainer. That's a scary sight. We've seen that all too often, and let's hope that Wood is okay. Dave Roberts is out there, and he is okay. The first hitter I saw do that when I was just a young broadcaster in the big leagues, Edgar Martinez. Edgar Martinez was the first to really just, like Spinal Tap, turn it up to 11 and get it up like 125, 130 miles an hour. And I'm sure you growing up in the Seattle area, that was one of your guys, right?
Of course. The double down the left field line. I mean, one of the biggest hits in Mariner history. But, yeah, he was all right. Edgar knew how to hit a little bit. He was fun to watch.
Yeah, Richard's right, and I remember the machine that Edgar Martinez used to do it off of was a tennis ball machine, that, like you said, they would fire it out of there at 125, 130 miles per hour. And he went through a whole drill session with it. There was a period in the big leagues, I'm not sure if teams still have this machine, but where there were, I'd say, a good amount of teams that had it. And I think Jake's very right that so often we get comfortable taking batting practice, taking flips, doing the easy thing, soft toss, and we forget that, hey, look, these guys are out there throwing 95, 100 miles per hour. You need to prepare for that.
Yeah, I think the other thing, too, is it just amps up the focus a little bit because it's not always consistent. It might run on you. It might cut a little bit. So you really got to pick up that zone that you want and be aggressive to that zone. And, you know, like you said, you know, with flips, it's going to be right down the middle every time for the most part, or you're asking for the ball away, the ball in, and you're almost cheating a little bit. With the machine and the small inconsistencies, you really got to focus in.
All right, stay where you are, Jake. We saw the mound visit from Dave Roberts and the Dodgers staff. There's a look, kind of stretches that left hamstring, and obviously that's alarm bells going off in the Dodger dugout, Oral.
Well, Jake, when you see something like this, Ryu get hurt yesterday and Alex Wood out there stretching his hamstring, do you guys really stay conscious of staying hydrated here in the desert?
Oh yeah, you have to. It's so hot, and especially with the roof open, you know, it's hot out there out on the field, so you got to make sure you're hydrated.
Speaking of degree of difficulty in hitting and keeping up with your hitting, we saw Paul Goldschmidt out early. It looked like he had like something that was narrow as a broom handle, and he's hitting some small balls down the left field line. Can you tell us about that drill?
I have no idea. I've never seen that before. That might be a Steven Souza drill.
You know what's funny? It was Souza. And when I saw Souza step up to the plate, he looked just like Goldschmidt, the way they stand up with their hands and everything.
So you think it was Souza, not Goldschmidt out there?
It was Souza and not Goldschmidt. But yeah, he was hitting small little golf balls, what looked like to start, little plastic golf balls, and then eventually he was hitting the life-size baseballs.
I'll make sure to tell Souza that. That's a big compliment. He'll love that.
Yeah, right?
Did he look like Goldie?
Yeah.
Goldschmidt-like. Well, you have one of the most progressive and creative front offices. And the group you have as hitting coaches, Dave Magadan, Tim Laker, and even Robert Van Scoip. That's the whole tunnel theory and a lot of the stuff. You guys are on the cutting edge, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, especially like you said, the tunnels and where to get guys in the zone. The tunnel, you want to see the ball out of their hand. And we, kind of like the go zones, the no-go zones. It's huge, and it's something that you never really thought about as a hitter. You're always kind of picking up that release point, and you're looking to where the pitcher likes to throw it, but it kind of takes it to that next level as far as where's the damage done.
What part of that equation has to do with recognizing spin? If every pitch starts in a certain tunnel, but how do you understand or figure out maybe if you're going to pick on a breaking ball or a heater?
Well, that's the part where kind of just. You love that information. You like getting all that information, but at the end of the day, you still got to get up there and be a hitter. So, it's every guy's different. Some guys can pick up that zone and really lock in on spin. Some guys, just still stick with the simple approach of looking out over the plate and just reacting to spin. So everyone's different.
Hey, give us a quick update on your injury and your expected time frame in getting back on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling good. I should be fairly close. Probably going to get some rehab games in, and as much as I love watching these guys win ball games, I kind of want to be a part of it again. So hopefully soon.
It's a fun time in the desert. Here's a look at that dive. Was it AC joint? What was the actual?
Yeah, AC joint.
Isn't the DL a lonely place?
It is.
You're part of the team, you're in uniform, you're around the guys, but it's still lonely.
Yeah, I think guys are getting a little sick of me, just talking nonstop and not playing. So I got to get back out on the field.
Well, we're glad you stopped by and talked with us for an inning. Go Huskies, and good luck the rest of the way with the Diamondbacks and with the injury. We'll see you back on the field soon.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
All right,
Jake.
Jake Lamb, what a nice inning by Alex Wood, who for the Dodgers now has struck out 8, walked 2, and is through 5, giving up just the 1 run on 4 hits.
Well, you think the inning began with him, loosening up his hamstring. It looked like he might have to come out, visit the trainer and Dave Roberts, and all of a sudden you know, the pitch count a little bit more under control. He gives them a full inning, 3 up, 3 down. So that was a sigh of relief for the Dodger side.
If you've not seen a game here from Arizona,
Just go Hawk.
Hey,
huh?
man, you realize whatever Hawk that I have now, if I were you and I had your statistics and career,
boy.
it would be 10 times as aggressive.
I think you and I think Joe Davis should follow suit too. You guys, you're a team.
No, Joe really is young enough to go for it. So I think, yeah, that's a good idea. We should get that out to him.
You guys are a terrific listen on Dodgers television.
I have really enjoyed it.
Well,
I really have. Joe does a terrific job.
We have a great team with Alana down getting all the kind of sound for us and inside scoop. And then Joe has done a great job. You cannot replace Mr. Scully. You can only end up sitting in the same chair that he did for 67 years. And
well, he's doing that quite well.
It's been a smooth transition. Joe is fantastic.
All right, Chris Taylor at the plate. Dodgers here in the 6th, 1-1. We've talked about Alex Wood. Patrick Corbin himself, through his 5 innings, 5 strikeouts, a walk, just 2 hits, and a run. And that run was an Austin Barnes home run. The Diamondbacks, if they can win this game, will take a step closer to an incredible record in Major League history. They've won every series they've played this year, 9 straight. If they win this, it'll be 10 straight. The Major League record is 11, and that was set by the Cubs, not the Joe Madden Cubs, but the 1907 Cubs.
Mm-hmm. Of course, we remember that team fondly.
Was that the, let's see, the 1907 Cubs?
That's got to be.
I saw the breakdown on
World Series winning
MLB
1907
Central.
Cubs, right?
I'm not sure you want to tie that record or break it, because then you got to wait 108 years to win a world championship.
That's the first thing I thought about.
Look, in this day,
I might leave that one alone.
Obviously, it's an incredible run. Burnsy, you were part of a team that had, well, you were on that A's team that won 20 in a row, right?
Yeah. That was pretty cool. They made this little movie about it. Got a couple scrub actors, and they called it Moneyball.
3-2 pitch. Taylor up the middle. And it's cut off there by Ketel Marte.
But I'm not sure if you guys have seen the movie. I'm actually there at the beginning of the movie. You'll see me, real footage, striking out against Mariano Rivera, and then at the absolute climax of the movie, I get pinch hit for it. That's my big Hollywood debut.
My biggest disappointment with the book and the movie, that there wasn't a starring role for Zito, Mulder, or Hudson.
True.
Which, man, not to diss the movie, but those 3 guys, they drove the train.
Everyone knows that. Yes.
But you were great in your cameo.
Thought I did very well. Thank you.
Kike Hernandez, who was struck out and flied out.
Grab a seat, Burnsy. And you know what I really liked about it? I felt like them calling me Burnsy was endearing.
End of the bat, and the
cue shot to Goldschmidt. And Corbin's got the second out here in the 6th.
You know what's funny? Actually, I'm going to tie this back into Jake Lamb because we were talking to him earlier. I had an opportunity to go up to University of Washington and host the first pitch dinner that they have up there every year and talk to the boys, and a room full of 200 Husky alumni. And basically, we actually pulled up the footage of Moneyball and that scene. And when I think back to my proudest moment on a baseball field, they actually show real footage of me jumping on the back of Billy Koch and going crazy as if I had just hit the home run that won the 20th game, as opposed to being the dude that got pinch hit for. Then the guy who comes up, Scott Hatteberg, hits a home run. And the reason why I had them bring that up and already talked about it, and I would say it's one of my most proud moments, is because it genuinely wasn't about me. And I didn't care one bit. The only thing I cared about was winning that game. And Oral, you know this, at the big league level, it's not always that way. And you have a bunch of guys, 25 individuals, pulling a lot of the times different directions. But when you have everybody pulling the same direction and working together and genuinely rooting for one another, that's when you play on those teams that are special. I imagine the '88 Dodgers were that way.
Yeah, and last year's Dodgers, I'm sure the Houston Astros would talk that way. I think that's one of the special ingredients of a championship team that's hard to put your finger on, because every team is going to tell you that we're all pulling for each other. But you can tell by effort, you can tell by approach when a person is consumed by themselves, maybe in an at-bat or a pitch selection on the mound or a play, or if they're consumed with the team effort.
A lot of times you could tell from the guys on the bench.
Yep.
And, you know, there are times when I've been out there where I felt the knives going in my back from other dudes sitting on the bench. But all the great teams that I played on typically were the guys that wanted the other guy to have success no matter what, even if it came at the expense of that player's playing time.
Corbin with a walk and a nice at bat there by Matt Kemp. And it's going to get Bellinger to the plate.
To finish up on this, yep. Rich, and let's get this out there, the bottom line is do your job. That's it. It's as simple as that, because guess what? There's always going to be somebody else waiting to take your job. They will find, if you don't do your job, someone else is going to be there to go ahead and do it, and they will give somebody else an opportunity, and it doesn't matter who it is. So you're better off just focusing on what you can control, and that's your attitude, it's your effort, and it's your execution. It's as simple as that.
It's not a prospect or potential league, it's a production league.
That's it. You're not kidding.
That's the only thing that keeps you in it.
Well, today here in Phoenix, the two lefties have done their job. Bellinger gets into that one, rips it into the right field corner. Let's see how fast Matt Kemp can run. Kemp to third. Souza digs it out, and Kemp will get as far as third base. And we've talked about it already on the telecast. Kemp is a guy that has had a history, especially lately, of lower body injuries, quads, hamstrings, hips. Bellinger almost hit that one too hard.
Well, this is very well played in the right field corner by Steven Souza Jr. You understand, I don't know if he's ever played a game here before. And here he is perfectly playing the carom off the right field fence. And you see Kemp going, but it doesn't matter. They got that ball into the infield so quickly that it could have been Bellinger or Chris Taylor running the two fastest guys on the Dodger team, and I don't think they would have scored.
91 pitches for Corbin. And now here's Austin Barnes, who's had the best at-bats of the day for the Dodgers. He homered in the second and walked in the fourth. And you've got two pitchers in a 1-1 game. And remember, the strength for the Diamondbacks this year has been their bullpen, and the weakness for the Dodgers has been their bullpen.
This is a guy that I feel like he's seen Patrick Corbin well all day. So if I'm Dave Roberts, I'm stoked to have this dude up.
He has 5 career at-bats against Corbin, and he's homered twice.
Yeah, I'd almost think about putting him on right here. I'm not kidding.
Well, once I saw this mound visit, and I know I've got a pitcher on the mound that can command his breaking ball and can pitch around him if you want. You want to see if Barnes chases, but
This is hard for a pitcher to pitch around with a man on third and 2 outs. You bounce a breaking ball, you got to really trust your catcher. But after this visit and the indecision on even the first pitch of an at-bat, I say, Mr. Barnes, go stand over there on first base and let's attack Farmer.
Well, agreed. Remember, the Astros were in this situation the other night against the Yankees, and Ken Giles gave it up on a breaking ball. And a long Gary Sanchez home run. Pop up. This could get him out of the inning. Mathis battling the sun, and he finds the ball and squeezes it. And the Dodgers leave 2 in scoring position. Patrick Corbin is through 6. And a 1-1 game here in Phoenix.
Long road of recovery for right-hander Yimi Garcia. The stuff has never been the question. The health, however, has been. He had a biceps issue back in 2016 that put him out for a significant amount of time, and then he had Tommy John surgery in February of 2017. This young man has not pitched a game at the big league level since April 22nd of 2016. So we're talking about 2+ years before he was able to pick up a ball and pitch in a game. Here he is today, came into the clubhouse earlier today, all smiles. His teammates got up from their seats, gave him a big hug, a big hello. It's been a long time coming. It's good to see him back on the hill.
A lot of you followed the Dodgers, and certainly you have interaction with Dave Roberts on a daily basis. From the outside looking in, the impressive thing to me is he's not used this boatload of injuries. It's the reason Garcia is here. A boatload of injuries as an excuse, has he?
No, that's the one thing you'll see about Dave Roberts is he constantly has a positive attitude, and it's not something that's just for show, Rich. It's something that is truly genuine when it comes to the Dodgers manager. This is a man that takes time every single day to make sure he legitimately says at least hello to every single player on his team when he comes into the dugout. Nobody is going to feel sorry for the team that has won the division the last 5 straight years. They understand that, unfortunately, injuries are part of the game, and we always preach on this side that the Dodgers have a lot of depth. Unfortunately, it's been tested early, but you can't talk about how much depth you have if you can't win with the guys that you have, regardless of these injuries.
You're right, Alana. Thank you for that. It's been tested by the Diamondbacks, who have won 7 of 9 against the Dodgers this year, and they're trying to win this series. Paul Goldschmidt, AJ Pollock, Steven Souza. Now, we told you earlier in the telecast that each analyst will take a turn chatting on the Facebook Watch telecast. So Eric Burns is leaving the booth, physically leaving the booth, with a laptop, and he's all yours on social media. So if you have a question for Eric Burns, now's the time to get into it.
It's kind of quiet in here now.
It's just you and me, buddy.
It's all right. We've got an empty chair between us. We got to kind of squeeze together. Eric Burns.
That one kicks off the glove of Farmer, rolls away, and Goldschmidt is aboard.
You know, I'm glad they saved the booth shot for when Eric left.
Right. I mean, here's Eric's seat. All that's left is his iPad and some hair product that is left over in the seat.
I'm glad they gave us the home booth. We have plenty of room here to spread out. enjoy the game. And
this is normally the confines of Steve Berthume and Bob Brenly. So thank you for letting us into your booth.
They do a great job also. We talked about the Dodger side of the broadcast, but Steve and Bob are outstanding. I love listening to Bob and his insights, especially not only from his playing days, but from his managing days.
So Goldschmidt's got, remember, good speed at first. Pollock has singled and struck out. Yimi Garcia's in, and he hangs a breaking ball. It's popped up, might be playable. Bellinger and Barnes, and it's just out of their reach. Here's that last ground ball by Goldschmidt.
We were yucking it up a little bit about Eric Barnes going out there to Facebook, and he'll be getting typed with all his comments. That was a tough play. We've seen some tough hops here in Arizona as the air kind of dries out the field, and so you'll get some soft spots and some hard spots in the infield. And the Dodgers have been victim to a few tough hops. Seems like the Diamondbacks a little bit more used to this surface.
It is one of the fastest playing surfaces in all of baseball. Field's in great shape. Pollock goes after that fastball and shoots it foul. That was ruled an error on Farmer, so Goldschmidt's aboard on an error. 5 innings of Alex Wood, 8 strikeouts and 4 hits. You got Steven Souza, Ketel Marte, and a pretty good variety of pinch hitting available for the Diamondbacks, as is often the case on a day game getaway after a night game. This is game 4 of the 4-game series. Pollock ground ball, base hit left field. Goldschmidt aggressive turn. Verdugo up with it. And Arizona's got something going here.
Well, Yimi Garcia, welcome back to the big leagues. You get Paul Goldschmidt as your first hitter, and A.J. Pollock, who's the hottest hitter on the planet, as your second hitter. One hits a hard ground ball that ends up being an E, and the next one's got a steering wheel on it. You got first and second, no out in a tie game. Time to take a deep breath and just try and execute your pitches.
Steven Souza Jr. climbs in. And Souza fouls it at the plate. We've mentioned earlier about the Diamondbacks and their hitting staff. Dave Magadan, Tim Laker, Robert Von Scoip. Von Scoip was actually a consultant with the Dodgers the last couple of seasons. Chris Taylor, one of his prized pupils. But Steven Souza was a guy he also worked with. He worked with players from a variety of teams. And so that fits nicely with Souza here, because a lot of the things that Souza had worked on to propel himself to a career year last year are the same things that this Diamondback group teaches their hitters.
Well, it's one thing to get changes, but it's another thing to be comfortable that everybody around you is used to those changes and knows the vernacular, knows how to approach you. And so, yeah, it's a smooth transition.
Garcia's out in front 0-2. 96 on the fastball.
Milana was so right that it's not about Yimi Garcia and stuff. It's getting used to the big league atmosphere again. I mean, I'm sure he feels a little bit like a rookie out there again, even though he's had plenty of big league innings. When you haven't pitched in this game, in this situation for 2 years, the adrenaline starts pumping. And he has thrown, I think, 11 pitches. I'm not sure he's even thrown more than 1 ball. So he busted onto the scene with the Los Angeles Dodgers. You could almost dial a strike up with him. He'd put the glove up and he'd hit a spot. He looks like he's picking up where he left off as far as execution.
Goldschmidt at second, Pollock at first. It's pretty good speed out there. Into right. That's Kemp out there, and he comes in to make the catch for the first out. A much needed out for Yimi Garcia. And the switch hitting second baseman Ketel Marte to the plate. The other factor when Alana documented a long road back to the big leagues, that first time out, there's the adrenaline factor. And oftentimes adrenaline helps you. But anytime you're back and out there throwing, I've heard, and you could speak to this, you have a tendency to, sometimes that adrenaline can take you places you don't want to go.
Oh, for sure. And we know that Yimi Garcia is keeping it under control and channeling it properly because 12 pitches, and we've seen him throw almost all strikes. So he's hitting his target. He's not missing. He's not overthrowing. But I know exactly what you're talking about. What he is being able to command right now is not only the ball, but his nerves.
Marte is a guy that the Diamondbacks have high hopes for. A couple years with Seattle, switch hitter, a natural shortstop. He's able to play all over the infield.
Not an easy guy to double up either from the left side. He can really run. So you almost look at this inning like you're going to have to get 2 more hitters out.
You see that 7-player or that 5-player deal. Gene Segura, the sexy name that went up to Seattle. Good breaking ball there. But as I mentioned, Mitch Haniger, who was in that trade, is just lighting the world on fire for a Seattle team that I think is an under the radar team right now. He's losing his logo there. You can see the A is coming off with the throwback purple. Breaking ball, punches it through the left side, and they will send Goldschmidt. Here he comes, throw to the plate is high, in there, he scores. Not many sluggers run as well as Goldschmidt does.
This ball is not hit very hard, and Verdugo in the outfield has an outstanding arm, playing left field today, but has a right fielder's arm. All but the height is perfect. If it's a little lower, they get him, but Barnes has to be elevated. The Dodgers might want to take a look at it, and they are.
They're going to challenge this.
They're going to take it to New York and have them take a look at it. Goldie loses his stride a little bit on the last couple steps before he gets into his slide, and that little bit of hesitation as he goes to tuck the leg under might end up costing him in the replay here.
Now the original call holds weight. It's got to be conclusive 100% to overturn it. So Dave Roberts watches. Good throw by Verdugo. Little high, but plenty on it. Have you seen enough, Worrell, in the first few replays to overturn?
I have not. It's a lot easier when they're sliding into a base, like second or third, because you have the elevation of the base. But at home plate, you really have to take a sharp eye to see when does the foot actually touch it. And from that look right there, the Dodgers have a chance. But as you've stated, it has to be conclusive to reverse a call.
And he's safe. And we'll see if it is a confirmed or stands. My guess is the call would stand.
Has been confirmed.
And we're told it is call stands. So not enough to overturn, but not enough to confirm. Torey Lovullo. And Arizona now with a 2-1 lead. And Daniel Descalso, who's had a terrific series, is announced. Dave Roberts is going to counter. And you're going to go to the bullpen for a left-hander. Goldschmidt scores on the Marte single. This is Marrero's spot in the order. Here's the slide again. The question now is Paul Goldschmidt okay?
Definitely going to get a little burn on that right hip, and he is a little bit slow in getting up, holding the left hip. Diamondbacks cashing in on that error at third base and some seeing eye ground balls, and now Dave Roberts trying to find somebody to record a couple more outs and leave it up to the offense to come back in this game.
So it's lefty on lefty here. Paredes and Descalso. A run across. Pollock the runner at second. Descalso checks his swing on a breaking ball.
Very important for Paredes and the Dodgers to hold this to a one-run deficit with the outstanding bullpen looming for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Runners go. Descalso checks. Ball's in the dirt. And a double steal for the Diamondbacks. Marte takes second. Pollock swipes third.
Diamondbacks have been very aggressive so far this year in stealing third base, and it's easier off of a lefty than a righty because they lose their perspective on where you are as they turn their head. Their eyes are then away from the runner on second, whereas a righty, as you turn your head, you can still see the jump of a runner at second.
Dodger infield is in, one out, and they count 2-0 to Daniel Descalso. This is the exact situation that Torey Lovullo talked about today in our meeting. Hitting with runners in scoring position. It's something the Diamondbacks have really tried to focus on from spring training on.
Well, they have a theory that, like a lot of clubs, that there's a different approach with runners in scoring position compared to you're leading off an inning or hitting in the middle of an inning.
And Descalso is hit on a 3-0 pitch. And Paredes, with a messy at bat, brought in to face the lefty, falls behind and then hits him. And the bags are loaded.
3-2 breaking ball that just comes out a little early and doesn't break. If you're going to get hit, that's not a bad place.
And if you're Torey Lovullo, this is the perfect spot for Jeff Mathis. A lefty on the mound, bags loaded. Mathis can just worry about contact here. And Paredes needs to throw a strike.
Dodgers able to back their infield up with a catcher at the plate and look for the double play ball.
Mathis is a good bunter as well. And no need to take the bat off the shoulder right now.
You got a young man on the mound that it's his first big league outing this year, and he's having trouble finding the plate. You got bases loaded, a 2-0 count. He's going to have to narrow his tunnel, as they talk about, a lot more specific.
Mathis goes after it, pops it in foul territory. Bellinger, fighting the sun, makes the catch.
In some ways, that is a gift for Paredes, to have him swing at a 2-0 fastball that's not really center cut, and to get a pop-up and an out.
It does two things. Obviously, it's an out, but it also removes Patrick Corbin from the game. Corbin was on deck, and had Mathis banged one in the gap or something like that, he may have stayed in. John Ryan Murphy, who had a pinch hit earlier in this series, will get the call. The Diamondbacks carried 3 catchers. Alex Avila, new to the team, Mathis, and Murphy. And he hits for Corbin. And wow, what a change it is for Paredes, who missed on 6 pitches. Mathis pops up on a 2-0 pitch, and just like that, he's out in front 0-1, and a couple strikes or a ground ball or a fly ball away from getting out of the jam. Nice job by Barnes, who has infielder skills. He's actually an infielder in catcher's clothing.
Yeah, he came into the season really thinking that the job was going to be his, at least the majority of the time, but some health issues in spring training and a little bit of the bat and Yasmani Grandal getting off to a hot start. Yasmani has gotten most of the time behind the plate.
You count 2-1. Murphy homered against the Dodgers early in the season. Known more for his glove and his defense than his bat.
Outstanding 2-1 breaking ball there from Paredes. Shows you the confidence he has on throwing that first strike, even compared to the fastball. I wouldn't be surprised if you get 1 or 2 more of those breaking balls way out in front.
Murphy off the glove of Paredes, out to short, and Taylor makes the play. The Dodgers worked on that all spring training. Paredes, the deflection, Taylor stays with it, and just like that, the damage is limited to the 1 run.
1 to 6 to 3, not a double play, but a huge out for the Dodgers and a tough break for Murphy.
Knocked his glove right off.
Probably a few people watching, they're saying, why isn't that a triple? He didn't throw his glove at the ball, it just the ball took the glove off.
And so
Slider is very hard to hit. 4 strikeouts with the slider, only 1 with the fastball. And he was very good on keeping his pitch count down as far as 3 pitches or less, and went a little deeper into the game compared to Alex Wood. But now that you get into the Diamondbacks bullpen, you're getting into the #1 strength of their team, really.
Which is a role reversal, because the Dodgers were the best team and the best bullpen in the National League last year. And Eric Burns is back, ladies and gentlemen, and he's brought refreshments. And now Oral Hershiser will shift and head to our social media suite or closet. Which was it, Eric?
It's a social media suite here to the left. It's actually the visitor broadcast booth. But my goodness, what an inning I missed. Are you serious? A lot going on there.
What was the now, as you can see, you can spin that chair around. That's Oral's old chair. What was your experience like? What were the fans talking about?
I actually was censored. So what I tried to really say wasn't necessarily put down there.
Goldschmidt gets to the bag, and Farmer is the first out for Andrew Chafin, who's come out of the bullpen for Arizona. Chafin takes over for Patrick Corbin. 6 innings for Corbin, and he leaves with a 2-1 lead here in the 7th inning.
One of the questions I wanted to ask was, did Paredes hit Descalso on purpose?
We, look, I don't know. It was 3-0.
You wanted to put him on. We get that. We know that, right?
Right.
A 3-0 pitch?
Once he fell behind, right?
But I get it, but you're not throwing a 3-0 fastball inside either, because you know the guy's trying to turn and burn. If Descalso did have the green light right there. That was just interesting. Look, man, we threw a whole package up there of the bad blood between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers.
Right.
And I'm just saying that this may have added to it. I don't know if it was on purpose. Only Paredes would be able to tell you that. But it sure seemed like it was.
Well, it was a 76-mile-an-hour slider.
Oh, is that what it was?
It was. So in my mind, he wasn't throwing at him. He just didn't have. I mean, I think if you're going to do that, you're going to do it early in the count. And I don't think you're going to do it with a 76-mile-an-hour slider.
Well, that's where I didn't have the monitor in front of me.
There you go.
That's why I wanted to ask the question.
There you go. That's why you came back.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, it's tough to tell from over there and no monitor.
From the social media suite, this is the pitch.
Yeah, no chance.
Yeah. So I look. I think Paredes was fortunate that Mathis went after a 2-0 pitch and popped it up.
Correct.
Now Verdugo, who takes outside. Alex Verdugo is lined out and flied out.
And how about Verdugo's throw home from left field?
Yes.
Almost getting Goldschmidt at the plate, which was obviously a very close play. But this kid from Tucson, Arizona, he's got the tats. Like Oral mentioned, he's got the Mr. T starter kit. He's got some serious swag, though.
And he's got great credentials. Terrific minor league hitter and top prospect. And he's got a double here.
Just watch him. Watch everything he does. Look at him. Look at him fire the boys up. Yeah. I'm a huge fan. I saw him last night on the TV as I was enjoying a nice adult beverage.
Instead of our production meeting?
Correct. And I couldn't take my eyes off him. It's just his energy, the way he goes about his business. Everything about him. Then immediately looked him up. 21 years old.
All right, this is the bottom of the order for the Dodgers. Tim LoCastro, the number 8 hitter. And LoCastro bangs that one foul. A little more on Verdugo. Tucson, Arizona. Number 2 prospect in the Dodgers system. And Walker Buehler, I believe, is number 1.
Look at the top tool, a plus arm. I saw him throw that ball from left field. My jaw dropped. I'm not kidding you. Like, there's very rare when you see a bullet come out like that. Because at first, when that ball was hit, that was a 15 hopper to left field. And then Verdugo gets it and chucks it home. And I'm just like, my goodness. I didn't think they had any shot at getting Goldschmidt home, and he made it a play.
Goldschmidt had a good break. A 1 pitch, bounced to third. Actually, it was off the foot of LeCastro. Descalso, who's in the ball game now at third base.
Daniel Descalso, St. Francis High School, Mountain View, California.
Here's that throw that Eric Burns is talking about. Now, he was called safe. Dodgers challenged. The call stood, so there was not enough to overturn. Goldschmidt was slow to the dugout, but obviously is back out at first base, and that's good news for Arizona.
Yeah, then I started looking at Verdugo's numbers through the minor leagues, and he's absolutely crushed it at every level.
Swing and a miss by LeCastro. Alana Rizzo's got more on Alex Verdugo. Alana,
give me more.
Well, guys, you guys were just talking about how good Alex Verdugo is defensively, the young 21-year-old, but it's not just defensively that has opened the eyes and impressed this Dodgers staff. If you take a look at what he does as far as in the box and at the plate, they're very pleased with the way that he has a very great concept of his own strike zone. He has such an awareness of what they're trying to throw at him and his ability to stay within that zone. They also really like the fact that he plays well above 21 years old. They continue to talk about the poise and the calmness that has come over this guy. It never seems like he gets phased at the biggest stage of the game. One thing he told me in spring training was that the best thing about it, the way he handles stuff at the big league level, is to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. And he's taken that mentality all throughout his approach at Oklahoma City, obviously one of the highest prospects in this Dodgers organization, but also to this level. He said there's a lot of uncomfortable moments, and it's the way for him to stay calm.
That, Alana, I mean, Rich, you realize, you talk about beyond your years, this is a 21-year-old philosopher from Tucson, Arizona. I'm talking about he's up there with the ranks of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. Become comfortable with the uncomfortable. That is the key to life, Rich Waltz.
You know, I did not see that in his player profile, but it's good information. You got Yasmani Grandal at the plate. Grandal pinch hitting. He's 3 for 7 in the series. One thing about Verdugo, too, he was an outstanding pitcher, and the Dodgers had to make a decision whether to have him pitch or whether to make him a position player. And I think they made the right choice. And that arm shows you he had a great fastball when he was a pitcher. And Grandal takes outside. Top of the order, Chris Taylor's on deck. Dodgers trying to draw even here in the 7th. In the final game of a 4-game set. Diamondbacks bullpen is active.
Verdugo's been praised for his base running instincts as well. Bob Guerin, I was talking to him, the bench coach of the Dodgers, give him huge praise about his overall game.
Example of last night and that base running, and it was important. Ball in the dirt, good secondary lead. He was off quickly, got to the bag, and that would prove to be a big run in a tight win by the Dodgers. He's at second here with 2 outs and a 2-2 to the pinch hitter, Yasmani Grandal.
That read that he had last night, that ball in the dirt, typically you work on that in spring training and you see the catcher go down to his knees, and that's when you take off.
Here's your strike box, Eric Burns. It was out.
It's not even close, though, Rich. Yep. We get the oohs and the ahs because the catchers are trying to frame and steal pitches, which is not fair.
Line drive, just foul. And the count 3-2.
But again, I go back to talking about reading the ball in the dirt. You do this stuff in spring training. You have to anticipate that ball going in the dirt. And some guys have the instinct to go ahead and make that decision quicker than others. That one last night was, I think, even a real tough one because I can't even tell if it hit dirt or glove first. Yet as soon as there was separation between the ball and the catcher, Verdugo is off. And that was the difference in the game.
3-2 again. And he got him, tied him up. Mathis digs it out, throws him out. And Andrew Chafin survives the 1-out double by Alex Verdugo. 7th inning stretch in the sunshine in Phoenix. And the hottest team going right now in the National what you talked about now, not to that extent, but there are other guys on this Diamondback team, in particular Nick Ahmed, who's in a groove similar to that. And they've done it without Jake Lamb and Souza Jr., who Souza Jr. is back in uniform, making his Diamondback debut today. This is Chris Owings. JT Chagua is out of the bullpen for Los Angeles.
How about Benjamin Harding? My whole office stopped working to stream this game. I mean, we can't let that go unnoticed. Where does he work, though? I want to go there.
Slow roller, Taylor to first. And Owings is out by a step. On the comment section of the telecast, you were just called a five-tool broadcaster.
Yeah, I think that's debatable, Rich. There's
Here's from Christian. Eric, I caught your home run on the fly in the first inning of the Dodger D-back game all the way back in 2007. That was a home run against a guy that was hard to hit homers against, the sinker baller Derek Lowe.
And how about the August 4th, 2007? I like sinker ballers out.
Did you?
Uh-huh. For whatever reason, I was one of those righties that liked the ball down and in. And it's funny because working at MLB Network, and I've had an opportunity to work with Pedro Martinez. And I was talking to Oral about this earlier, but Pedro would come out and watch batting practice, and one of the things that he would look for is to see how guys would waggle their bat. So not only during batting practice, but also when they were up to bat. And where you waggle the bat typically is where that hitter would like the pitches. So I would always waggle the bat in that down and in spot. So that's why whenever I faced a sinker baller, I typically would have success.
I think this is going to be an interesting player to watch the rest of the year, and that's Nick Ahmed. We've talked about the changes in some hitters like Ahmed. Chris Taylor, one of those. We had Justin Turner on. Pollock is thriving. And this group of hitting instructors and hitting strategists, to get a full year with Ahmed, he's got 5 home runs already. He hit just 6 last year. There's Dave Magadan, well-respected, outstanding hitting coach. Tim Laker, his assistant.
Yeah, he's come up swinging it. I mean, I noticed this last week when we had their game in Philly. Just look at his aggressiveness. Look at his approach. The way he attacks the baseball now, I feel like is different than what I've seen out of him in the past. And I just mean that where in the past it was more, hey, put the ball in play, shoot the ball the other way. And now he doesn't care. I would see more swings sort of like that. Now this is a 2-strike protection swing. But for the most part, this dude's been taking some rips this year.
And he's always been a top-level defender.
Yes.
And not just among shortstops. In terms of defensive war, if you're into that, he's been in the top 10 a couple times. And that's all players. 15 and 16. That's another good 2-strike swing. And fouls it back. He's a UConn Husky with more on him. Here's Alana Rizzo. Alana?
Well, guys, he's really been unconscious, particularly the last week and a half. 343 average, 3 doubles, 3 long balls, 8 ribbies, 2 walks in his last 9 games. When we were talking to Torey Lovullo about it, particularly with runners in scoring position, obviously not in that moment right now, but he said he's really a guy that has learned how to stay within his plan. And not only that, but he's a good student of the game. He said he's incredibly disciplined. He's looking at things differently when he has 2 strikes on him, when he's behind in the count, but he doesn't get out of his game plan.
Roller to third. Nice play there by Farmer. Hey, Alana, look, obviously you are on the Dodgers telecast, but you have a healthy respect for Arizona. You see them a lot. What changed with this team last year that they've carried into this year, in your opinion?
You know what I think the biggest difference is that they haven't changed. I think they took pretty much the exact same team with the exception of a couple of different guys, particularly in the catcher spot. And they've really carried that over into this season. I mean, this is a team that was at the top of the division, one of the couple of teams at the top of the division between the Dodgers, the Rockies, and the Diamondbacks, and really just have had a plan. And Torey Lovullo thinks a lot of it is because of the bullpen. They know the roles that they're supposed to be in. You know, obviously a different guy in Boxberger this year who has still yet to blow a save, the only team that hasn't blown a save so far in Major League Baseball. But also talking with A.J. Pollock earlier today, he said it's a different type of hero every night. They don't feel like it has to be one guy to carry the entire team. There's not a hole in that lineup when you talk about their offense, and it's really lengthened the team. I mean, you have Pollock, who's healthy, Nick Ahmed, who is healthy as well. They're starting to get some of their key players back, and, you know, when they start to get Shelby Miller back, Jake Lamb back, those types of players, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and they just haven't even skipped a step from last season, guys.
How good is Alana Rizzo? Thank you, Alana. That one, Shagwa bounces that one up to Goldschmidt. Counts 1 and 2.
Best of the best, Alana Rizzo. We sure do miss her at MLB Network.
2-1, Arizona on top. Goldschmidt scored that run that was replayed on the Marte single back in the 6th. The lefties battled. Alex Wood, Patrick Corbin. Bullpens have taken over at this point. And Goldschmidt, who's struggling right now, Eric Burns. What do you see in his swing?
Well, his swing's the same. And that's the thing, when you get a guy like Paul Goldschmidt, typically you're not going to see his swing change a whole lot. What you're going to see is him come out of his zone. So it tells me he's not seeing the ball as well. You saw that ball right there that was inside off the plate. You see him swing at it. I see him swinging at pitches he normally jumping at pitches. See the way he takes it? And I said it earlier about A.J. Pollock, the way he took the ball. And he looks smooth, easy, comfortable. When you see hitters that are jumpy, and trust me, I was jumpy of my career. It's not a great thing. You just need to put it down and focus on going back to doing the only thing that matters, the most important thing that matters, and that's seeing the baseball.
Goldschmidt rolls it down the third baseline. Farmer backhands, long throw, and he got him. JT Shagwa with a nice clean inning in relief. And this ball game here in Phoenix is headed to the 8th. Oral Hershiser in the social media suite right now, finishing up his chat. And will be arriving back soon.
I was over there wrapping it out with Joe Davis.
There he is. There is Oral Hershiser. Diamondbacks are home. I believe Houston's coming here this weekend. That's a terrific series. Astros here against the Diamondbacks.
Oral, do you have any extracurricular activities planned for Monterrey, Mexico?
Not off the top of my head yet, but I'm sure I will find something, because we are adventurers, so we will look around and tour the town, I'm sure, when we have some time.
I think I could probably find a few things down there for you.
Really?
I'm a traveling man myself.
Fernando Salas is into the ball game.
Look at the lettuce on that kid. 2006 Eric Burns version. My goodness. What's up, little dude? Look at him.
Crackers.
Yes, sir.
I think that's a bring your own ballpark snack.
With no commercials, I could use some food. Need some time to get a bite in.
How about a bathroom break?
It might have been part of why I played hooky.
Well, top of the order for the Dodgers.
Yeah, that's more of a 2018 Burns version.
Taylor fouls it back. Diamondbacks bullpen has been terrific this year. Andrew Chafin came in and pitched the 7th, pitched around a 1-out double. And here's the written proof of that. The ERA is the best in baseball. The whip it good, best in baseball. And the lowest slugging percentage.
And he doesn't want the credit, but let's give at least a nod to Dan Herron, because I know, good friend of mine, I know he works his tail off to game plan and help these Diamondback pitchers out to put them in a position to succeed.
In case you missed that discussion as Taylor walks, you can find a great story. Nick Pecoro in the Arizona Republic a couple days ago, a profile of Dan Herron and his role as the pitching strategist for the Diamondbacks. And it doesn't work unless you work in concert with good people on the ground, the boots on the ground. And that's certainly what the Diamondbacks have with Mike Butcher and Mike Fetters and the rest of their staff here.
Well, how about Chase Utley?
Here he is.
You know, I played with him at UCLA. How about that?
The Silver Fox he is now.
What does that make me?
With the Mohawk, I don't know. What do you go with? You're faster, less wind resistance.
I saw him and Garrett Atkins come in to UCLA, and they were the two best pure hitters that I'd ever seen at that point.
I was told when Utley was scouted, even before he got to UCLA, one scout said he had the fastest pair of hands he'd ever seen on a hitter. And boy, as that played out, that ball's hit high and deep, but it's curling and it's foul. Utley pinch hitting here for Kike Hernandez in the 8th. Chris Taylor is the tying run at first base with nobody out.
Well, you know what we used to do? We used to go after practice, Chase and I, we'd get a backpack full of sodas, and we'd go out to the VA 9-hole golf course and have nice little friendly wagers on each hole and enjoy some team camaraderie. And gets a base hit up the middle.
Utley smacks one into center field. Taylor stops at second, and the Dodgers have something going here, and they get right into Kemp with Bellinger and Barnes behind him, and that stirs more activity in the Diamondbacks bullpen.
Chase Utley is a spark plug. Even when he's not getting hits, his intensity and his ability to think the game and play the game, and right there pitching in with a hit. He has had a hot bat throughout the beginning of this season.
If you're scoring with us at home, this is a mound visit. In a 2-1 ball game, Mike Fetters, the pitching coach, has arrived to talk to Fernando Salas.
You know, Eric, we complimented Dan Herron, and you know what? Every department in baseball now is multifaceted. You've got the strategists, you've got the analytics coming down, you've got the people that can actually translate that from the analytics to the player, you've got the pitching coach that can do all of that plus mechanics, and you've got your bullpen coach. So when Dan is humble about getting credit, he is part of a very, very good team.
He is, no doubt. And he's on the forefront of all of the analytics.
And the irony in this game is the fact that Dan Herron started that when he was a Dodger and worked with Zach Greinke. They were teammates briefly there at the end of Dan's run. He and Greinke connected, and Herron over the last couple of years have been giving these same type scouting reports and analysis to Greinke, and that really fit when he came and interviewed for the job. Because obviously Greinke now the anchor of this really nice rotation in Arizona. Salas to the plate, and Kemp fouls it back. Kemp is 1 for 2 with a double and has walked. Runners in scoring position. We talked about the Diamondbacks and their success. The Dodgers in this series have scuffled 3 for 23 with runners in scoring position. Diamondbacks have won 2 of 3. This is game 4, and Kemp takes a fastball right on the corner. You could see it on the strike box. It caught the corner.
Threads the needle out there, and Jordan Baker's had a lot of borderline calls that he's done a pretty good job back there.
Kemp shoots it to right. Souza in, and it falls in front of him. Souza's got a great arm, and he airs it out to second and almost gets Utley. He's safe at second. Bags are loaded.
That's a very tough ball for a runner, because it's right in front of you. You see the right fielder's got a shot at it. You also understand he's got a great arm, but you can't go too far off first because he can then come back pick you if he catches it, and you can't get too close to second because if it falls in, you got issues.
And Arizona right now is looking at this replay and trying to decide if they want to challenge it. Obviously, it's a force play and a bang one at that. And the Diamondbacks have made no motion that they will challenge.
Ooh.
That's close.
But Chase going in there hard, like he's breaking the double play up. Of course, everyone can remember a few years ago where he went in a very unfortunate incident. But I'll tell you what, UCLA Bruins get after it.
Torey Lovullo wants the baseball. He's going to go to the bullpen. He's got Jorge De La Rosa, the lefty, who's going to come in here and face Bellinger. You got Barnes behind Bellinger. And that's going to be a base hit. Bags are loaded. A big moment here in this game and a real opportunity for the Dodgers.
Well, that play was very interesting because
in a big moment, bags loaded, nobody out. Diamondbacks infield still figuring out what they want to do. They're halfway up the middle. Descalso even at the bag at third and off the line, and Bellinger pops it foul. Bellinger's been good in this series. He doubled in the 6th. He's driven in 3. He's got a home run in the series as well. And De La Rosa has extended his career as an effective weapon out of the bullpen. Longtime starter and great success with the Colorado Rockies. Bellinger lines it center field. Pollock in, got it at the knees. Both runners tag. Taylor scores. Utley retreats. Ball game is tied.
What a nice swing by Bellinger. What a great play by A.J. Pollock. Coming in, that is not easy. And look at him going from light to dark. The shadows are not easy. These are balls that you see handcuff outfielders all the time, but he stuck with it. Good play all the way around.
Great decision to throw the ball to third base instead of making an off-balance throw and a longer throw to home plate, because Utley was right on it and would have moved up if the angle of the throw would have bent towards the mound.
Spot on, Oral. That's one of those ones because you're running and you have the momentum, and it's not a super deep throw. You think you have a chance maybe at the guy at home, but you're right. The momentum was taking him towards third base. Made a brilliant decision right there.
And I think a balk.
Yes.
A balk has been called on De La Rosa. Barnes stepped out. I don't know if Barnes asked for time. De La Rosa may have thought he did. Time was not granted. Here's another look. Watch Barnes.
Trying to receive the sign. He starts. Yeah, he did not step off. He started to come set, but he has to step off with the foot that's engaged with the rubber, and he never did that. And now the Diamondbacks will make that decision to put Barnes on.
Well, that changes a lot of things. The intentional walk to Barnes. Farmer comes up. It's going to bring Arizona's infields at this point in. We'll see if they change their mind now that they've got a runner at first base. Now they're in. Now Marte is backing up at second base. And De La Rosa against the right-handed hitter. The value of De La Rosa is obviously he's left-handed out of the bullpen, but as a starting pitcher, he's able to get righties out as well.
Well, he had an outstanding year last year with inherited runners. Only had 1 of 33 score. Has not gotten off to that same kind of year this year. So far this year has inherited 8 and 3 have scored.
I never liked facing De La Rosa. Kind of that funky delivery.
The pitch was out.
He's still throwing hard. Same thing, 93, 94 miles per hour.
Bases filled with Dodgers in the top of the 8th. Los Angeles has tied the game at 2.
And back in the day, De La Rosa would actually throw a changeup, and it's going to look like a slider. But he'd throw this changeup that has slider movement that will dive down and in to a right-handed hitter.
Now the middle infield has backed up looking for a ground ball. With a 1-2 count to Kyle Farmer. In the dirt, kicks away from Mathis. Utley will score. Dodgers lead it.
You know, Eric, that was very close to the pitch you just described. It looked like an off-speed pitch that dove down and in. It could have been a slider. It could have been a cut, kind of slow changeup that kind of went in there. Deflect off the left shin guard right there, and really that's why it carried him so far.
And now the infield is back in for a 2-2 pitch with 1 out.
How about the Silver Fox, Chase Utley? Still doing it.
Utley with a pinch hit here, and that close play at second. And good instincts as always on the bases. Farmer, the 27-year-old, who was actually a teammate of the Dodgers starting pitcher Alex Wood at Georgia. And he swings and gets a piece of it. That one also gets a piece of Jeff Mathis.
The winner of the loss today is going to count as 1 for each team. But as far as the emotion of a win or a loss, the Dodgers, it's a bigger emotional game for them. You know, trying to come back from a 4-game losing streak, winning last night, and now kind of reeling behind the Diamondbacks. Could be 9 games back or could be 7, and that's huge emotionally.
It gets by Mathis. Kemp coming home, and he scores. You don't see a ball get through Jeff Mathis very often.
No, he's had a tough day out there today, and I wonder if the shadows are starting to come into play, because you can see them. They've now covered second base. There's kind of a funky configuration if you look out at center field. That's, I mean, can you guys see that? Right? That's the perspective that Jeff Mathis is looking at right now, and he's not seeing Jorge De La Rosa's ball. And I could just say, from hitting against De La Rosa in the past, he's a tough guy to pick up.
Into left field. Barnes will score. Farmer with a hit in a big inning for a team that has been starving for one. The Dodgers have 4 runs here in the 8th and a 5-2 lead.
A couple of balls get away from the catcher. That scores, but the Dodgers do get a hit with a runner in scoring position. Kyle Farmer, you mentioned the teammate of Alex Wood at college. When Farmer got called up, one of the scouting tips that he gave to Dave Roberts was, he's a really good player and you'll love him, and he's clutch.
You know who else is clutch? This guy right here, Alex Verdugo.
You have been on the Verdugo wagon not only since the start of the game, but apparently last night in doing your homework.
Correct.
Verdugo doubled in the 7th, lined out in the 5th, flied out in center field. And look, the Dodgers have a busload of guys on the disabled list. Verdugo up the middle. Ahmed flip, turned there by Marte, and cleanly done. But not certainly a clean inning for a bullpen that's been lights out this year. Fernando Salas and Jorge De La Rosa run into some waves here in the 8th. And the Dodgers push across 4 runs and lead it here in Phoenix. And they score at 5-2. Along with Oral Hershiser, Eric Burns, Alana Rizzo is here as well, our MLB Network production team. We visited live with Justin Turner. Dave Roberts hopes to have him in about 3 weeks or so. And we've enjoyed the sun. Eric, the fact that you get a day game here in May with the roof open, comfortable temperatures is a real treat.
Yeah, Rich, this is the only time of day I actually did not like it, because as a hitter, you see the shadows have now come across the field, making it a little more difficult to see the ball.
Ross Stripling into the ball game. Versatile guy. Stripling's been used in a lot of different roles.
Started here on Monday against these Diamondbacks and now slip right back into the role in the bullpen. He really is a jack of all trades, master of all, and really it's not completely about the stuff. It's about the emotional makeup of Ross Stripling, that no matter where he is in his workout regimen or what Dave Roberts and Rick Honeycutt need him to do, he's always going to take the ball and he's always going to go out there and be mentally sound and figure out a way to not only compete but to pitch very well.
What pitcher today, Oral, reminds you of yourself?
Oh, wow. It's a hard one. I really don't look out on the field and kind of, vicariously live through guys and go, oh, this is the guy. The velocities are so much harder now. I dreamed about throwing the ball 94, 95 miles an hour consistently.
Taylor, high throw, catch and tag, and we'll see if Pollock reached the base before the tag.
Yeah,
he's lingering at first.
He's staying out there. Typically when he stays out there like that, as a runner, you've got to be pretty confident that you may have snuck in there.
And the Diamondbacks are going to review it. That's
safe.
Bang bang. Watch the foot.
Whew.
I don't know.
So close.
But can you overturn?
Yeah.
Is it conclusive?
The other angle. This is the good angle.
Ladies and gentlemen, the previous play is under.
I think he is safe.
I think he's safe, but I also think that this is difficult to overturn. Because can you definitively tell me?
No, if you can see the impression on the bag before you see the leather touch his jersey, then you're going to have a clean look at it.
I think in the first year of replay in Major League Baseball, a lot of teams just had video folk and a mishmash of people in the room watching. That's changed. Right away, teams realize the value of that role is somebody that is a decision maker, somebody that can judge game situation and if you want to challenge or not.
Oh, it's huge.
It's very, very much a baseball savvy person. There's definitely some angles that are inconclusive. And you would think,
wow, he's out.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a call stands.
For sure. It is that close that there is no way there was enough evidence to overturn it.
Wow. If you look right there on the freeze, and if you're telling me that foot's on the base, the boys in New York messed this one up, but they got such a difficult job. They really do.
Steven Souza Jr. His first game with the Diamondbacks is 0 for 3. Has struck out twice and flied out. So Pollock is out.
How about that still shot, though?
Yeah, I guess the question would be, in that still shot, could you definitively say the foot had reached the bag?
Well, I think in the still shot that I got at the end, I would say yes.
Okay.
But did the guys in New York have that still shot to look at? Because I would not have overturned it until I had the still shot at the very end.
They had that shot. They have all the cameras that we have available on our telecasts. Another try for Taylor. This one takes Bellinger to the opposite side of the bag, and that's a nifty piece of work by a really good first baseman in Bellinger.
Yeah, he's really good around the bag, Oral. That's one thing I've noticed from watching him play. He's just got an incredible court awareness.
Yeah, he is so good. And you know what? You can put him in center field, right field, left field, and he'd be right in the equation for a possible Gold Glove. And even at first, you're going to see how talented he is, reading the throw, understanding the footwork of what he has to do. And boy, just getting his foot out of there in time before either one of them maybe gets hurt. Well, he caught a little bit of it.
I like that term, Eric. I like court awareness.
Try to preach that to my kids as they're
crosses across all sports.
Running around the house, knocking over vases, picture frames.
That's some odd stuff on your court.
Yeah. Look at that. To keep the foot down as you're really, I mean, you're exposing yourself. So you got to have a lot of confidence in your ability to grab it down out of the air and then also be in a position to protect yourself.
Marte back in the box. See more players, especially this year, wearing that face guard. Players that have not been hit in their career that have gone to that.
Well, I could have used that when I took a 94-mile-per-hour Scott Proctor fastball off the face.
Marte banging one off his foot.
Sucked Lucky Charms out of a straw for the next 2 months. I was in the Cape Cod League. That's all I could afford.
Really? Lucky Charm diet?
Not kidding.
Were you able to continue to play? They wire it shut and you played on? Or were you down for the whole 2 months?
I didn't miss an inning. I actually stole second on the next pitch.
What a baby.
I mean, it's not like I'm sitting here trying to celebrate myself, but let's go ahead and do it.
Here's Marte. Eric Burns, ladies and gentlemen. He's the Archie Bradley of MLB Network. When they need somebody to liven things up, to shut it down,
bring him in.
Eric Burns comes flying over the top rope and arrives just in time. This has been a fun game.
I don't think they're the dominant team that they have been the past few years. It's just going to run away with the National League Western Division Championship. That all said, if this team gels, this could be the biggest blessing in disguise for this team, going through all these injuries, because you have guys like Alex Verdugo coming up and getting an opportunity to play.
But when you say the best team in the National League, remember you've got the other divisions. You've got the East and the Central.
Silvino Bracho is in to pitch for Arizona, and he hits Tim LeCastro. And LeCastro is aboard to open up the 9th inning.
Left fielder Jock Peterson.
Jock Peterson's going to come up.
First big league hit by pitch. I believe.
Yeah, first,
right, Rich?
First major league start for Locastro, who arrived on the scene this morning. Gets the start.
Close to 200 stolen bases at first base in his minor league career over only about 500 and some games. So there's a lot of speed at first.
A lot of. What else do you have about Tim Locastro?
Well, guys, Tim Locastro started the season last year in Double-A Tulsa, and then he finished the year in Oklahoma City. When his minor league season was over, he went back to his home in Auburn, New York, where he lives with his parents, and he started actually painting their basement. Well, his season wasn't over because Gabe Kapler, at the time, was the head of player development for the Dodgers, called him up and said, by the way, you're going to go to Colorado for the final 3 games of the season in audition for the playoff roster. Now, as Oral was talking about, Tim Locastro got called up to make his major league debut basically as a burner, as a runner, a pinch runner situation. Didn't make the postseason roster, but had a feel of the bigs at the end of the season last year and kind of told us that it gave him a lot more confidence that he was on his way.
Well, that's good stuff, and now he's got a chance and an opportunity. As Eric Burns pointed out, all these injuries, there are some young Dodgers that are getting some run here in the big leagues. Peterson, as major league hitters are wont to do, fouls a pitch back and then tries to smell the bat. That's a Ted Williams trick. One of the things Williams used to ask a lot of hitters, and I think you see that video, and a lot of hitters have started to do that.
Well, typically you could really smell it with the ash, but most guys are swinging maple these days.
Runner goes. Locastro, first major league stolen base. And Oral's scouting report is right on.
Here's the thing, and it's interesting because I'm not counting this Dodger team out one bit. And here's a team that I would say cruised to just about 5 National League Western Division championships over the past 5 seasons, right? But this year they're going to have to work for it. And I can go back and think of all the best teams that I played on. Those teams had contributions from everybody. The entire 25-man roster who's ever active at that time, and probably another like 5 to 10 guys after that that made significant contributions. So the Dodgers now are going to be in a position where you're going to have to maybe go to a guy like Locastro, right? Verdugo, like I mentioned before. Guys that you might not have expected to be up this early and playing, but they're going to get some dirt under their cleats. And who knows, down the stretch, when these guys are called upon in a big situation, you know, they're comfortable, they're in a position to succeed with some experience. And that, again, that is the man that is one of the better managers in all of baseball and the right guy to lead this squad.
Well, the front office of the Dodgers has done a great job of not only formulating the roster with depth, but flexibility. And so you've got Chris Taylor that can play all over the field. You've got Jock Peterson that can play all 3 outfield positions. You've got everybody, Kike Hernandez that can play all over. Austin Barnes, second catcher or starting catcher, depending on the day, can play second base, third base, outfield.
Bracho's fastball, and Taylor swings through it. I think the guy at the plate is a key in the next, I was going to say 3 months, but heck, next 5 months the rest of the way, and that's Taylor. His versatility will help. Certainly he can play short in the absence of Seager, and he's trying to follow up what was an obvious breakout year last year with 21 homers, 34 doubles, a 354 on base, and he slugged close to 500. If the Dodgers can get 5 months like that out of him, then Burnsy, I think you're right. You don't want to count them out.
I think first and foremost they need to start getting healthy. Yeah, just get their guys back. I mean, you look at this disabled list: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 9 dudes on it.
Taylor rifles that one foul. And his story, we touched on it early, and it really was an amazing transformation. Great player at Virginia, drafted by Seattle, got 233 at bats with Seattle, never homered. And then last year hit 21 home runs and was the co-MVP of the NLCS along with Justin Turner.
Welcome to the launch angle revolution.
To right, and it's hit well. Pollock giving chase at the track, runs it down. And LeCastro ends up at third for a Chase Utley at bat. You know, and I think we heard it from talking earlier. Alana's really nice interview right before the game with AJ Pollock about launch angle and the new swing. We focus on launch angle, that's sexy, right? But a lot, Eric, of what this new age swing is about is the load. For some, it's a leg kick. We've talked about Arizona and the tunneling of hitters. Launch angle's fun because it's new and you can put your finger on it, but there's more to it.
Well, it's about getting the ball in the air. It's about hitting the ball hard. That's not any different than what we've been teaching for 150 years. But guess what? Ted Williams, if he were here today, he would tell you that what we're talking about now isn't any different than what he tried to preach his entire life. So I do like, though, that guys are recognizing it. As a baseball fan, I like to see the ball in play, so I hope it doesn't come at the complete sacrifice of that.
Utley smacks a ground ball, diving stop there. Marte on his feet, and he saves a run with a marvelous play. But the Diamondbacks have work to do. Dodgers scoreless in the ninth, thanks to Ketel Marte going hard to his right.
Yeah, what a play right here. Silver Fox vying for another hit. Just gets him right there.
So to the bottom of the ninth we go. Now, unbreakable records. You brought up Orel's great scoreless inning streak. And it got us to asking which of these streaks is going to be the toughest, or will any of them be passed? Orel, you think someone's going to get past you sooner or later?
I think somebody will. I think that we're even actually getting
happening anytime soon.
Be hard to get 130 green lights.
That's true. Here's Daniel Descalso. And significant that it's Kenley Jansen on the mound as he's tried to iron out some issues. And last night, step forward. And today here, he comes in. This is a save opportunity with a 3-run lead in the bottom of the ninth. Descalso was hit by a pitch in the sixth. And he hits a high fly ball to right field and deep. At the wall, and it's caught in the corner. Verdugo had moved over to right, and Descalso came a few feet away from a solo homer.
Yeah, he just got V'd here at the ballpark. That's never a good thing.
That's heartbreaking for you because these are your two favorite players, right? Descalso and Verdugo.
Yeah. But I talk about the V. Look at the V right there, right? If that fits and they just finished it like they're supposed to, that's a homer. And you're right. I do think those are my two favorite players. Of course, Daniel Descalso, St. Francis High School, Mountain View, California.
And a outstanding infielder for UC Davis.
He's an outstanding defensive back for the Lancers football team as well. And then Verdugo, Tucson, Arizona.
See, Oral, I'm just proud that I was able to hold that off until the 9th inning.
No, because you've been trying to bait him here and there, but you got him right there. I mean, he took the big bite. That was largemouth bass.
Alex Avila is up.
Kenley Jansen threw yesterday, gave up a run, the only run the bullpen gave up for the Dodgers. And the encouraging thing about his stuff right now is early on when he got off to the slow start, everybody was worried about the velocity. Well, he touched 97 miles an hour yesterday. He was about 94 to 97. What he's looking for now is a little bit more location and a little bit more of that late action on his cutter. Right there, that's the slider, which he'll use to surprise guys, or he'll use when the cutter's not working quite that well to get people off of the fastball.
One of the subtractions for Arizona was Chris Iannetta from last year, valuable and really good catcher. And Alex Avila trying to prove that he's healthy and can catch with some regularity. Pops that one into left center, and it's caught there on the run by LoCastro. Well, we've come to this moment, and even though we are Facebook Watch, this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent. 2 outs, bottom 9. We appreciate all of you who have participated socially with the comments. It's been a fun listen with Oral Hershiser, Eric Burns, and of course Alana Rizzo as well.
It's been fun, guys. If this ends here with one more out, it's been a lot of fun. I'd like to do another broadcast with you just to see what we're going to go over.
Did the people at home listening hear that?
In the air.
If Oral wants another one, Oral gets another one.
And the Dodgers will win this ball game. And I know it's early May, but this is a rather large one. Instead of 9 games back, they're 7 back. And they split the series. And for the first time all year, the Diamondbacks do not win a series.
First time this year also that they've lost back-to-back games. And the Dodgers have not won 2 in a row in a while. It was a huge series, and it was definitely even bigger when the Dodgers lost the first 2 for them to turn it around and get a split out of here.
And so the Dodgers get this win, and they pulled it 2 under 500, and they head to Mexico.
Yeah, how about that?
Monterrey, Mexico for 3 with the San Diego Padres. And certainly Fernando Valenzuela will enjoy that visit, as will the fans. And there's a lot of Dodger fans down in Mexico. And the Arizona Diamondbacks get ready for the world champs coming in. Houston's in here. Arizona, no need to hang their heads. They're at 21-10. They split this series with the Dodgers. They're the best team right now going in the National League. This is going to be a fun year for Diamondback fans. Austin Barnes set the tone with a home run in the 2nd inning, and he's down below with our Alana Rizzo. Alana?
All right, guys, thanks very much. Setting the tone with the home run and then a 9-pitch walk. Austin, do you feel like the swing is coming along?
Yeah, I think, obviously it's been a little bit of struggle early in the season, but, it's a long season, a lot of ups and downs, and, yeah, just trying to build on some momentum.
Let's talk about that 8th inning and where you guys get the 4 runs. Not only the walk by you, but heads-up base running and just manufacturing those runs.
Yeah, CT had a good at-bat to start off, and Chase extending it, and then Maddie loading the bases. It was a good team effort in the 8th, and that's the way we kind of play baseball, kind of grind it through.
Alex Wood, another strong performance. 5 innings, had the 8 punch-outs, just gave up the 1 earned run. What did you see from him tonight?
Yeah, his he got his pitch count up. They did a good job, but he battled through it a lot. To get us 5 strong, keep us in that game is huge.
What did you see with him as he was kind of stretching out that hamstring?
Yeah, I think he just had a little bit of a cramp. You know, that happens. I think he's fine, obviously. He could have won it. If the pitch count was right, he probably could have went out there again.
Yeah, it was certainly hot today here in Arizona. Finally, let you brag on your bullpen once again. 2 straight days in which they held it down.
Yeah, these guys are doing awesome. You know, they took some heat early on. You know, like I said, it's a long season, a lot of ups and downs. Well, you know, everyone who came in today threw the ball well, and Kenley came down and shut it down.
Austin, a 4-game set. You guys split the series with the Arizona Diamondbacks, a team that has been very hot to start the season. Does it feel more like a win of a series than a split?
It feels like we're playing better baseball. That's I think that's the most important thing. You know, whoever our opponent is, we just got to play the kind of ball we can play.
Happy international flight. Thanks, Austin.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
All right, thank you, Alana. Nice job today. All right, final thoughts, guys. Bernsey, we'll start with you. What did you take from this series and this ball game?
First and foremost, Alana Rizzo, such a pro. Rich Waltz, you, pro as well.
I appreciate that.
This man said, this legendary man sitting to my left, a lot more pizzazz and sass to him than I would have ever expected.
Oh, I might not have a mohawk, but I had a lot of fun sitting next to one.
Hey, look, I look back at this game, and this is a huge win for the Dodgers. I mean, Monterrey, Mexico is next. By the way, don't do anything I wouldn't do around there. And on top of that, it's just, here's this team that you have a lineup that when you look at it up and down, you're like, wait, hold on a second. Who are these guys? LaCastro and Verdugo and Farmer and Barnes. They didn't envision having a lineup like this or fielding a lineup like this early in the year. So when I look at this going forward, I'm thinking to myself, if they can go ahead and win with these dudes in this scrappy bunch and just keep them in it, just hover around 500 and let the rest of the boys get healthy, Oral, this could be another playoff team.
You got the right subject matter. I think, you know, when we were talking about who's going to have the most wins in the National League, I start to think of who's going to be around 500 or slightly above at All-Star break, and who will then be healthy and ready to get on a roll, because that's when you win a championship. You get yourself in position in the first half, you put people away in the second half, and I still think the Dodger roster is capable of doing that.
As you pointed out, Oro, Arizona's got guys that are hurt as well. Their roster is not complete, and they're at 21-10, which is a pretty darn impressive thing.
Correct.
All right, gentlemen, really enjoyed it. Good luck to the Dodgers in Monterey. Good luck to you. Safe travels, everybody. And to the Diamondbacks, have fun against the Houston Astros. Good luck to Arizona. Next Thursday, MLB Live on Facebook. Back to Philly. Reese Hoskins, Buster Posey, Phillies and Giants. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern. For Oral Hershiser, Eric Burns, Alana Rizzo, our entire MLB Network production crew, I'm Rich Waltz. Goodbye from Chase Field in Phoenix. Thanks for watching MLB Live on Facebook Watch.